All right. It's 7:08, only 8 minutes late. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you all for coming in. I can't tell who's here yet, what's not. But I want to first thank Pedro for coming by. I haven't had ever a chance to have Pedro in a conversation, and this is going to be hopefully
fun,
pretty
man.
cool, man. It's going to be fun. So
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
But Pedro, thank you for coming on. I think that I don't need to give Pedro an introduction. Most of you guys all know him. So, but if you don't know him, his link is in my comment or in the show notes. So go ahead, take a look, obviously. But I think that everybody here is pretty familiar with Pedro. But if not, take a look in the show notes. Obviously, subscribe to his channel. Hey, Dasher Pass, what's up? What's up, Susan? I don't know if you're still around.
What up, Faith? How are you?
Looks like some people are starting to get here. And hey, what's up, Hannibal? What's up, Gary? So actually, it's Gary Middleton's. He posted an article that I just shared on my website that's been going for 5 years. I don't even know if you know I do that, uberliftdrivers.com, but
I've heard
that came way.
I've heard of it. I've only watched your YouTube. I haven't watched anything else.
Yeah, I've been doing that that'll be 5 years in March, but
wow,
the podcast is 2 years. I've been doing exactly since the pandemic started. So, but it started from the website, which is pretty big. But I just reposted one of Middleton's posts because he kind of broke down the TOS into some. Here's what you guys need to know, since none of you read it.
Well, I made a video this morning because I went to go dash and I got the update and it asked me to accept it. And I didn't read none of it. I accepted it because I'm going to go make money. I don't think most of us do. I think that's unrealistic, but I think it's important to know what's in there, right? Because I know if it's an update, what does that mean for us? You know what I mean? So I'll have to check out that video if you made one.
Yeah. Well, no, it's, I think that if we get to it, hopefully we'll get to it here a little bit. Like we can just walk through Gary's points. I can even pull it up on the screen. Because he kind of just bullet pointed the changes that were made since the last one that was January of 2020. That was the last TOS update.
Yeah, and a lot's changed since then.
Right, but he just kind of pointed out what's really changed. Like one of the real main things that I saw that I guess we'll get to was that they did state in there that it matters what your acceptance rate is, and that's something that's going to touch on something else we're going to talk about here. So,
that's scary. Oh man, I haven't gotten to that point. You just dropped a bombshell on me, man.
Right. I mean, they're not supposed to be doing that, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. But so, okay, I know everybody knows, but I actually don't know this, so I want to know. So, but before you were in the gig world or the app-based on-demand gig platform world, I know you're in St. Louis, but what were you doing before that? And then when did you come on? Was it DoorDash first? And then are you working other apps now?
Yeah, so I started part-time January 2020. I managed the restaurants in the local casino, River City Casino here in St. Louis. And I was a rideshare passenger for about a year and a half. And I had something I wanted to pay for in a short amount of time and didn't want to mess with any other kind of money. I said, you know what? I got a new enough car to do rideshare. I can just do it on the weekends, do it at night, and I became addicted. So I started as an Uber rideshare guy and I started doing that. And then I got DoorDash as like a part-time deal. And then in January so it's been exactly a year, pretty much a little over a year. I've been doing full-time gig work with DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber rideshare a little bit. I sprinkle that in. It's been a while, but I've done that this year. And then I tried Instacart, didn't love it within my market. So I'm DoorDash and Uber Eats mostly right now.
So that's kind of okay. So this kind of touches on something with me that this will resonate with you. Is that to me, you're kind of like I'm trying to think of anybody in the food delivery space on YouTube who has more subscribers, active subscribers too, because I do want to point that out. There's a big difference between accounts that have subscribers and active subscribers.
You're absolutely right. It's a good point, Steve. There is a big difference, yeah.
But in my mind, you're kind of I don't know if there's somebody who has more subscribers, more active users than you. You're kind of like the Harry, who you and I both know well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're kind of like the rideshare guy of food. I can't think of anybody who has more than you. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm subbed and watch a lot of people. I think there's so many content creators now within this space just in the last year, right? I'm very new to this. game, but the YouTube game, but like there's a lot. Yeah. But I think the active subscribers is a big thing. And that's something I'm really proud of because I
Yeah.
think that you can look at a number, and numbers are important if there are actual people behind them. Right. So you can have 1 million subscribers, right? But if you put a video out and it gets 10,000 views, that's I would consider that not a great video, right? If you're looking at ratios. So I think that it's a good point. I don't know. I don't, who I can compare myself to within this world. I think we're all different. And I think that's good because it allows viewers to find different kinds of content, different perspectives based on market or whatever. So I think it's good that we all have like some differences and backgrounds and the kind of content that we put out. So.
Oh, I absolutely do too. I just, it's really been apparent to me who has active users and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to use anybody's name, obviously, but I can just say a handful of accounts have 5,000 subscribers, let's say. I have nowhere near that because I've been doing the audio podcast and focused on that. That's what I do. I'm just coming over to this world. So my subscribers are pretty low right now, really. It's like around 300 or something. But my videos get, sometimes more views than my subscriber count. So, and then I look at some people with 5,000 subscribers and they're getting the same amount of views I am.
Yeah. It's
weird. My videos are long. My videos can be an hour, hour and a half, and people are watching 60, 70, 100% of them. And I just never get that. I never get, how are you actively putting up videos? You have 5,000 subs.
I don't know.
I mean, I know there was the way back in the day of buying things and, buying subscribers and all that, but I don't think that was it. I think that in the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people came on and subbed and this and that. And then they went off and did either back to gig work and didn't need YouTube anymore, or they just said, I'm going to go get a W-2 or whatever they did. And then just kind of left it.
Yes. No, I think you brought up a good point because you got somebody like Bentley Coop, which got into the gig economy video making early on. He's got over 100,000 subs, and this isn't a dig at him. But if him and I went live right now, I'll have more people in my live than him. But he has 100. You see what I'm saying? The only reason that is because I'm more active. He doesn't make as many videos. So I do a video every day and a live every week on Sunday. People know that. So it's kind of like they know that. So they're going to be ready to watch. And it's not that that's better or worse. It's just different. And I think the algorithm knows that. It knows that I'm going to have a video every day at this time. It knows I'm going to go live. So, and people know that. So they're in there and they're going to give a thumbs up or a dislike or a comment. And I think that that's why I have active users. That's my guess. That's the best I can come up with. But, and I think a lot of people that are subscribed to even like a Harry's channel, he's over 100K, right? But like, he's been in the game so long, right?
Right.
And his videos he does so many different types of videos with all the apps, right? So he might have a video that comes out that has 4 million views, like the trucker video, right? Which went viral pretty much. But he might have another video that doesn't get that. I just think a lot of people hit the red sub. But if you don't actively watch that channel you're sub to, it won't recommend it as often either. I've noticed
it'll notice that it's showing you subs that you don't watch. I've even noticed that. I played around with a small number of subs in the beginning, and same thing with my audio podcast. It drops every Tuesday morning at the same time here in Denver, and it's really helped me. I mean, that was one of the first pieces of advice I was given in the podcast world, was make sure if you're weekly, if you're bi-weekly, if you're monthly, whatever it is, drop it at the same time on that date or whatever, and keep that going. Don't miss one, don't miss two.
Yeah.
But it's
and the podcast game that you're in, I can't even imagine. That's a whole nother beast right there.
Well, and I've been pretty open lately about my numbers because I'm actually really impressed with myself. And I was even talking to Harry about this. He's like, man, you're crawling like up on my podcast numbers. And I actually was talking to Gary Middleton, and he looked it up for me like while we were on the phone. He's like, no, that's you're not in Harry's field. But he's like, but you are closer. I mean, because I was doing like 11 to 1,400 downloads a week, and for an audio podcast, the people on YouTube need to realize that's a lot. When you see if you're seeing like 7,000 views of a 11-minute video on YouTube compared to my hour and a half audio podcast,
right,
that's a lot different because people have to download the whole. You're usually listening to the whole thing. If they're downloading audio podcasts, they've usually got it set up as an automatic download. They listen to it, they count on it being there. But now I'm up to like 18 to 2,000. And that's the first time I've ever done like something positive during the winter break. Usually it's pretty
Nice.
slow, man. I don't know, but I was working on the YouTube stuff and I was putting out some extra stuff, and it just kind of got some things going. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
I think it's important to like feel good about little wins and successes. You know what I mean? Like we all have our goals and benchmarks, and when you put yourself out there, you make a podcast, you make a video. We want people to watch. We want people to engage, right? Everybody does, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we see that we're having some success, I think it's important to kind of recognize that. I think that's a good thing, man. So
yeah, I think that's part of why I was when I was watching your live last night. Part of watching your live was it was interesting to me because I'm wondering, because you're active every Sunday night with these people, and I think I've even seen you live other than Sunday night. I think sometimes you might just go live here and there.
Yeah, it's very random. I did one on maybe almost 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday because I wasn't working and stuff. But Sundays has been pretty concrete for a few months now. But yeah.
But I think because you're active there every Sunday, I think that those people are definitely more active to come watch your other videos.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm saying is I think if you didn't have your Sunday regular live stream, I wonder what your view counts on your, not that they'd be bad, but I don't think they'd be quite as high in the algorithm.
I think you're right. Absolutely.
I think you get pumped up there because a live podcast or a live stream on YouTube that gets a lot of viewers is obviously going to say this channel is definitely worthwhile. It's getting a lot of views during their live, and they'll push you up the ladder. So it's
I think
it's weird how all that works, but so never the other ones, never Postmates when it was around, never Grubhub, or did you?
Oh, you know what? I did do Postmates. I did do Postmates. I didn't like it. I did it as I was also had DoorDash and Uber, and I'd turn them on and I tried it. I think there was like a 100 trip promo for like an additional $200 or $300 or something. But the Postmates, like the offers were so low, and the customers might tip you after. Like I found that I was like, I'm not doing this again. I uninstalled. I didn't like it. I didn't like even how it would route you and stuff. I just didn't enjoy it. But Grubhub, I signed up. They denied me because of some old ticket I had that's been taken care of. It was like 8 years old or something. And I didn't even try to even combat that or give them proof that I, don't have that ticket out there anymore, like a traffic ticket. And for me in my market, I can do well with Uber and DoorDash. So I kind of have the philosophy, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I see a lot of people that have a lot of apps, like I get a lot of respect for that. But for me, that's just too much to juggle. Plus I got the videos I do every day. Like I need to have the two. It works for me. I'm able to meet my goals. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It works for me right now. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, why would you?
Right.
Like, if you're rocking and rolling and earning, why would you? If somebody's like, hey, you should try. Why would you disrupt your pattern? Don't. And it's not even if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just don't throw a wrench in your system when it's going good, because we all know that rug could be tugged out from under you at any point. I mean, you're a perfect example. You got deactivated. I've had to deal with my share of stuff. I've talked to Harry before, and 29,000 rides didn't come with no calling customer service. So
that's crazy, man. I mean, that's crazy.
I can't even tell you the times I've spent, the amount of time when I think about it, because I don't know, but it's ridiculous how much I've spent on with Uber and Lyft support. It's crazy.
I think I've called Uber support with rideshare. You know what? I've called them with Uber Eats, but with rideshare, I think I did. I had a couple things like where the pay wasn't right, but like Uber support to me is even worse than DoorDash. Like, and I've never had to. I don't hear great things about Lyft, but I've never used it as a customer or a driver, so I don't know a lot about that. But
so do you, Hannibal. I think that's a hat trick here. I think we all hate Instacart.
We both have a hatred.
He was telling me that he was telling me before that he told you about it, got you to get into it, and then you were kind of like me, man. I did like one or two. I did an Instacart ship challenge and and I did it for 2 weeks because all my listeners were like, "You've done rideshare, you've done Curry, you've done all these other platforms off to the side, and you've done food delivery, but you've never done groceries." I'm like, I don't like the grocery shop. It's not my thing.
See,
I don't even like for me.
Hannibal got me on it, and I did it the main reason I did it is because he kind of asked me, and I was like, "That's Hannibal's my dude. Like, I consider him a friend." And I was like, and then he's like, "You can make a video." I was like, "All right, it could make for good content, right?" Like, so I did it like for content. You know, the video got pretty decent amount of views. It was fun. I was making fun of myself. It's like I didn't know what I was doing. You know, that makes for a fun video when people can laugh at your expense, right? And then I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, I can't. Then I tried it another day, and then like a third day, and I was like, "Nah, this ain't for me, man. Like, I'm good." And I actually, Steve, I enjoy shopping. I actually like going like for myself. I went to the grocery store yesterday. I like to do it, so I didn't want to mix something I actually enjoy doing with trying to make money doing it. I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I think that for me, I got wrecked because, I have a 15-year-old that lives with me 5 days a week. And I've been divorced since he was like 2. I'm actually, I don't know if you know, I'm engaged to be, there's my fiance right there.
Congratulations. I was actually gonna congratulate you. I heard you talk about that on a podcast you did maybe a couple of weeks back, maybe a month or so. Did you guys get engaged New Year's Eve, right?
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Yeah, man. Congratulations, man.
Yeah. I mean, we've been together for a while. We've known each other over 20 years. And
wow.
yeah, and she's got kids. I got my kid, but my 15-year-old has always been kind of a nuisance to my shopping because when he was growing up, I hated taking him. So I would just anytime he was at school or whatever. So I just over the years learned to rush shop now. Even if I'm not in a rush, now I'm just in this bad headset of like
yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, a mask too. Now I got to wear a mask and go in there.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I enjoy shopping. I think part of it for me is nostalgic because as a kid, we didn't have a lot. So we go to the grocery store and like that was a fun thing. And when I was growing up, they'd have like the little sample ladies or guys. They give you a sample of something that a new product. And I basically would have lunch as a kid for free at the grocery store. And it was always fun. And now I take my time. You mentioned you kind of do it in a fast way. Like I like to go through the aisles, see what's new. Like I enjoy it. It's just a little thing for me. And it might take me an hour or whatever total, from when I leave to when I come back. But that's kind of like my little personal time for me, I don't have the phone on. I'm not really doing much. I'm just like shopping and relaxing. I know that sounds strange, but I enjoy it. So.
I think maybe once he goes to college or whatever he decides to do. I know your little girl's nowhere near there yet. So you got years and years and years to go. But I'm just saying my kid's a sophomore. So. He's got 2 more years. Maybe then I'll learn to like find a cool store and I don't have to shop for him and me. Because that's another thing. A teenager just eats everything.
Well, they do. So I have a daughter that's 20. So I have a 20-year-old.
Okay.
So she's a sophomore in college. And then I have a 7-month-old. So like I'm on I started over.
So you've already been through what I'm.
Yeah.
I'm at the tail end of it, and you know how teenagers are, man. They just eat everything.
Yeah.
They just put stuff in the fridge. So I mean, with him, I buy cheap stuff. I hate to say that. I always fed him good when he was younger, but now I'm just like, dude, it needs quantity over quality with the kids. I mean. Keep eating
it's so expensive gallons of milk are $5. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so expensive to feed, especially you got a grown boy. Like I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. And right now too, he is in his room because he might have COVID, but we don't think so. He was at a sleepover this weekend, and one of his buddies tested the next morning for COVID.
Yeah.
And so the mom of the place where he was sleeping over texted the 3 of us who had friends' parents who were over there, and they're like, "Oh, Hudson tested for COVID," and I'm like, "Oh, God."
Oh man!
So I did a couple home tests, and I've been around him, and I'm like, whatever. But I know you just had it too. I've had it twice. It's just becoming part of life now. Whatever.
I think I heard some people say like their idea of it was like it could possibly be like the flu. Like we get flu shots. You have flu season. We could have COVID. It could be 10 years from now. It could be COVID season. Get your booster, right? And
but at this rate, it's gonna be like 3 boosters a year.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe you get a booster every month. Yeah.
But yeah. So one thing I really wanted to talk about today, and I'm glad that Hannibal made the video that he did yesterday. But I want to get into it from a couple different angles because you said something in the live chat last night, and I wrote a little thing down on like You know, I worked in the bars forever, so it was like a scrap of paper, but I think of it like a bev nap. I was like a pen with like a bev nap, like just scribbling something down because I wanted to hit you on DoorDash's transparency, where they've been, what this is going on in New York, and I heard you say you kind of moved through it because I knew you didn't want to dive in too hard, but IC or employee kind of was what you were, was what the mountain was a little bit about. But you didn't tap in too far. So I guess I mean, I want to know, like, what is your position on that? I know we all are getting a little bit confused with this now. So even if you were a strong, because I'm a diehard IC, but I work IC gigs outside of the platform world. So work for a laser production company. I do some computer stuff. So I've been a true independent contractor before the gig economy existed.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, I actually understand it. I know what it's fully about. And this is like, if I go do a tour with a band or whatever I might be doing, we have Carnival Cruise Lines, Disney, Toyota, those are all clients of ours. So if I go to do something on a cruise line, or if I go on the road for 5 or 6 weeks and then I come back and I have 7 weeks off, that's why the gig economy platforms work awesome for me, man.
I bet you can kind of, when you have that time off from making your true gig or your true independent contractor money, you got a little side hustle, which I think DoorDash and these apps are fantastic for.
Well, and I even turned it into I've always turned it into my full-time work, and I treat it like I got to make the same money, like as if I didn't make the money I just had.
Yeah.
Like, now you still got to, pretend like you have nothing. You still got to earn everything for this month. Let's do it. That's always how I've done it. I don't treat it like, you can just kind of slack and work 10 hours while you're back home. And because I don't know if you've ever worked in production at all, but production days are long. It's like salaried jobs, but you never know. You could have an 8-hour day, you could have a 2-hour day, but you could have 4 15-hour days back to back.
I've never worked in production or anything like this. Is the first independent contractor work I've done, right? Like, I think it's a slippery slope compared to what you've done in your years. But I've worked, I come from service industry, restaurant. I've managed bars and restaurants, so that I'm a little bit familiar with, like, a day. 1 week you work 35 hours, and 1 week I'm working 70. You know what I mean? Like it. But I was always paid salary, so my money was always the same, whether I worked 35 or 70, which is good and bad. But I never worked production kind of stuff before.
Right, but I mean, like, salary. Did you ever have a salary job?
Oh, yeah. That's when I was managing the restaurants. Okay. I was always on salary.
Right. So I worked in a lot of restaurants too. And so you know what that means. Like, you and I know what that means. So that I kind of always blend that in when I'm talking about, and I see an employee. I like it when the person I'm talking with has had a salary job, because those are the jobs that very quickly you want to quit. They sound great when you're getting hired on, because it's like, okay, I'm going to make this much a year. Wait, I'm getting health benefits. You're going to give me this. You're going to give me that. It's like all these things. It's almost like what do you call it when you're, out of country and they're like a timeshare. Yeah. I feel like they're like giving you that timeshare, like, euphoric high while they're pitching you to, like, you're bartending. They're like, you want to be a manager? All of a sudden you do this and you're like, I just want to go back to bartending, dude. I don't want to be like.
Well, it's funny because, like, I worked tables and I bartended for a little bit, but then I got right into management, because if you're a good bartender or server, they'll want to say, hey, you want to be in the management, you want to be a crew leader, and they'll suck you in, right? They'll suck you in with, you can have this and this. And before you know it, when I first started managing, my bartenders are making more than me. Yeah. And I'm their manager. You know how that goes. Yeah. So it took me a while to get to a point where I was making a decent salary, but, like, it took me 10 years basically of working 50 to 60 hours a week. I mean, you're running your body ragged. You're running your mind ragged, because you're dealing with staff plus the public. You're dealing with numbers, and you got to hit your food costs and your labor. Like, restaurant business will chew you up and spit you out.
Yes. Yeah, it will. And, that's the thing. When I came from bartending, they were the first part of the pitch was, and I've known these guys for years, but I had been working for them, and they said, you'll be able to make your own schedule. You'll be able to pick 2 of your 4 shifts or your 5 shifts during baseball season. Yeah. We were right across the street from the Rockies home plate entrance. So it's like, that's 82 games a year. So that's at home. So I was like, okay. But then I didn't realize, wait a minute, you make the manager schedule first.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yep.
get to pick it first because, like, if you schedule me Friday, I can't pick Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You just
No,
it's
and you know,
just a lot of stuff like this. So again, I'm just relating it to how we always
yeah.
a lot of us always complain about these apps. It's kind of the same thing with salary. It's the same thing with any job. You're always going to want to make more money. You
You're
know,
so right, man.
if it's
You're
not
so
the app,
right.
if it's not the apps, you're gonna have a boss you hate, or one you dislike, or one who just grinds you in that wrong way. You know, just I don't know. There's never, I should never say never, but
There's very rarely a perfect job. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't,
even
it's
then, I
hard
don't know
to,
that it
yeah.
lasts, man. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just if you think like, you know, and I'm not saying stay in the gig economy, but I'm saying there people overlook that sometimes, that remembering what it's like to go back just to W-2, but then you get up into salary and some of those other metrics, and it's like, you know, I don't know, I forgot how bad it was to have somebody telling me what to do. Go get that. Like that's a
Yep.
real, like, you know, and you
Yeah.
know from the bar industry, it's not thanks, it's not please.
Oh no,
It's
because there's
hey,
no.
go get that now.
There,
It's a lot of yelling and even shoving and stuff.
I
Like
mean,
move. You know,
I
it's
was that manager sometimes, you know, because I managed places in the casino that were super busy. Crab leg night, I managed a buffet where we're doing 80 grand in a Saturday night. That's a lot of money, right? So then you've got 60 employees, like you have to be quick. And there's no please and thank you sometimes, you know, like you're gonna get that at the end of the shift, but like sometimes, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to fill that mashed potato pan. Hey, I need to take the trash out. I need your bus table 32. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, good job with that table. You got a compliment. It's fast. You can't, you know, but you're getting pushed around sometimes, right? And
right.
you know, the gig apps don't necessarily do that. We don't have somebody in our car telling us you have to take that order. What happened? Why were you 2 minutes late? Why didn't you put that bev nap down when you put that beer down, right? Nobody's telling us that.
Right. Right. But you could get 1 star and a complaint from a person that didn't want to spend $7 to go downtown in the ride share. You're the best driver they've ever had. And just to not spend the $7, they're going to get you deactivated.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you can lose your gig app for absolutely no reason at all, other than some person they don't want to spend the $10 they spent to go downtown. And they don't care. They don't care about your livelihood. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
Maybe they were even friendly with you. So
yeah, especially if you're doing it, if you're a nighttime rideshare driver and you're picking up people from bars, oh man, you're gonna get either, in my experience, because I did a lot of that. I did late night. You're gonna get a lot of like really happy people, or like people that are just like so mad and they're drunk and they're gonna rate you 1 star. They're gonna not tip you. Like that's very true.
You know, I always with the so one of my tricks was with the bar crowd. Since I actually knew a lot of them too. Like, but those people that would be out there when I was doing this, the late night part too. And if they came in and they're like, you know, and if I knew anybody around them, even as they were getting in the car, I'd always be like, hey, you know, for some reason none of my tips, everything's been screwing up with the app. And if there's any way that I could subtly say, and I hate to say this because I stopped working nights. I started in 2014, but I stopped working nights in 2016-ish, 17 maybe. But I did have a handful of times where I said, hey, you know, if you want to turn the app off and pay me cash, because I know these people are cash people. They hang out in Lodo. They spend at the bar. They probably aren't anymore. You know, by the time's the bar, you know, in another year, it'll be like crypto or something, NFT world or something. This was still cash. And they all seem to be willing. And I know, you know, it's not encouraged. I'm not encouraging it. However, I have
That's
done
the
it
reality.
myself.
I mean, that's the reality though. I've picked people up, and I've probably done this a dozen times. You pick somebody up from a bar, a club, a baseball game. Hey, we drive by a White Castle. We have White Castle, McDonald's. Hey, will you go through the drive-thru? I'll give you extra tip. I've done it. I've picked up 3 or 4 like really attractive young women. Oh, we want to go to White Castle. I'm not saying no. And then I get an extra $10 tip, plus I get to talk to some cute girls for 20 minutes. That's a win-win for me. I mean, I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen. Usually it's you know, I mean, we get tons of pretty girls in the cars out here, but there's usually be a guy wanting to go through McDonald's or something. I'm like, no, dude, and I could tell he wasn't tipping. And he's like just hiccuping. And I'm like, I can let you off at McDonald's, or they'd want to buy me a burger. There'd be 15 cars. It's 2:30 a.m. I'm like, I'm not going through there, dude. I'll just leave you here. But
that's what's cool is it's all situational. We can make that decision to say yes or no based on our gut instinct, or, you know, how we're feeling, which is nice, you know?
Right. But that's a weird situation with rideshare, because you got to look back at the passenger and go, There's two ways you need to gauge this. I've been in the bar industry for over 20 years, and you have to gauge, are they not drunk enough where they won't give me a 1 star and get mad and go inside and actually do this right now? Or are they drunk enough to forget about this and just go pass out once they get home? How close are we? How angry is he? So now you've got like this whole thing weighing on you, because you know if they wake up from it, you know, or if they're like, I don't know, you know, I don't know. You got to always, you know, you're in a new situation. But I want to jump back to the transparency part. So the DoorDash transparency, I'm sure it bothers you. It bothers all of us. How could it not? They have, they specifically, they wrote their code to work, and then they wrote code to make sure that it wasn't transparent. They've played with that code ever since. Now with what Hannibal said about Uber Eats, and I mean, I think he was saying tips transparency, but also distance, amount of the order, like the whole shebang was going to be viewable. I don't know. In New York, and I think it started today, right?
It did. That's what I heard. Yeah.
So is that going to work? Because DoorDash tried the employee model. I think they've already abandoned it in New York. I know they were trying it in Hannibal's in New York.
And that was only like a month ago that they started, or 2 months.
But you and I know that's pretty common. A lot of times something only does last a month or two.
Yep.
I mean, they try something for a month or two, and it's Uber's notorious for this. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, that didn't work. Let's get rid of it. But is this going to work? Because I've always thought that not only would it work, that it would actually improve the model. It will make it harder to grab orders. It will make it tougher, because you'll be fighting for them, because they're all going to be up front in your face. But will it make it better? Because, you know, like with rideshare, like, you know, I mean, they have that punishment rideshare with Uber now. So like if they say you didn't take 2 rides in a row, now you have to take 5 blind rides. And not only do you not get the 30% of the information that doesn't help you establish whether or not you want that ride, you're getting 0% for the next 5. Let's call it. And so then you got to just do 5 blind ones. Like I've always said that if the rideshare companies just showed at least as much as they could where it's going, whatnot, there's always somebody willing to go where, like, I might go, I'm not going there, but there's always a driver in the area who is like, sweet, I live there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So why send me when he might want to go there? Not because he's going home. Maybe he wants to stop. Maybe he'll make a stop home. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll call it a night. I don't know. But like for him, that's an awesome ride. For me, let's say it's a crap ride. Let's say it's not based on money. Let's just say it's based on, oh man, I don't want to go out to Aurora, you know? Like here in Denver, and somebody's like, man, I live just south of Aurora, you know, like, okay, well, then you should have that ride, not me.
I mean, I think that so full tip transparency, it's something we should have, right? That's a no-brainer. I think there's, you know, 1% of people that might say, oh no, I don't care. It doesn't, you know. I don't like it. I've gotten over it only because I've been able to find out how to find them, and it's like a game, and it's stupid. But at the end of the day, like, hey, I'm going to play your game because I'm going to make my money and figure it out because I have to, because I'm not expecting anything to change now. Now, if I wake up tomorrow and I have full tip transparency, would I see that it's a positive in my market? Absolutely, because then it's like I know 100%, right? Because nothing I do now is 100, but that would be 100. But at the end of the day, I think we're on us. I think there's a lot of good things about how the app works right now and how we're able to log in, log off, pretty much have a lot of control. There's a lot of frustrations, but we have a lot of control as drivers, whether it's rideshare or food delivery, than I think we do. But I think we're teetering on with the talks of strikes, which I'm completely against in the gig economy. I think it's ridiculous. And now we've got legislation, whether it's local, state, or federal, you know, trying to make sure the apps are held accountable, which I think is a good thing. Accountability is great. It's a good word to use. But at the end of the day, I don't know if I trust a local, state, or federal government to team up with DoorDash. You have these, it's like Dumb and Dumber trying to help me make money. And I feel like I feel like I don't want to be an employee. I don't want my acceptance rate to matter. I don't want support calling me. What happened with that order? The customer just complained. I don't want that. I want to be able to turn the app on, make my money, figure out how to do it in my market, and then turn it off. And for me, the more that we have regulation, the less I'm able to do that. That's just my opinion right now. I could think differently in a few months based on how things happen in New York or continue to go in Cali, or if something happens in Missouri, which, you know, we're in the middle of the country, so it'd take forever for something to happen here. But as far as the coast go, I'll have my ears out there and see how it goes. But at the end of the day, like, I want to be more independent. That's part of why I'm doing this. So I feel like the people that want the minimum guaranteed and they want this and they want this, they want that, I get it. But at the end of the day, that's like an employee. Like, you want to do this as a job. I do this as a side hustle. And for me, I don't want that to be messed with. That's how I feel about it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you said California. I actually deal with a lot of those people with AB5 and Prop 22, and that, you know, Prop 22, right? I mean, California is still under AB5, and I actually talked to true independent contractors outside of the gig realm who have been destroyed by this. I mean, just destroyed, and it's still there. Prop 22 passed. It cost Instacart, Grubhub, DoorDash, or not Grubhub, Instacart, DoorDash, Lyft, and Uber $218 million to fight AB5 in California. It cost the government of California around $150 million. So you do the math, we're at 368. We're at $368 million to get a law passed that was supposed to only hit the gig economy. Instead, the unions decided to blanket it and go after everybody who's an independent in California. Right. And then they started these carve-outs and had to go to a different legislation, AB 2257. But then the Prop 22 thing it was basically like buying a carve-out for the gig economy. But so that $368 million was just completely wasted on things that could have so far gone. And now Prop 22 is going back to court because it was in conflict with the California Constitution, which drives me nuts, because I wonder how all these lawyers didn't notice it till 2 days after it was decided on and voted on. So they let it be a proposition on the November ballot in California. It was overvoted by 3 million votes. So people overwhelmingly by 3 million votes decided yes on 22. And then they said, wait, this goes against the California Constitution. How did you not know that before the vote? How did these 600 lawyers none of them saw it?
That sounds like a setup to me, right?
Yeah, but like, how did the DoorDash and Uber and Lyft and Instacart lawyers not see it? They're the ones being paid to find that. Of course, the state of California doesn't want you to see it.
Right.
I just find it hard to believe that because I'm imagining those four companies I just listed are some of the highest paid attorneys in the world that work for Uber, Lyft, Instacart, and DoorDash. Yeah. So how are they not finding that they were in violation of the California Constitution? But now we have this whole thing going on in Massachusetts too, other states too. It's been fighting down in Jersey for a bit, and I know Kim Cavan, who's actually put a stop to that a couple times. But we have House Bill 1234 that's going to try and do the exact same thing with the ABC test. And Lyft is now the leader. They've already thrown in $17 million towards this. And $5 million has come from Uber, Instacart, and DoorDash. So we're at 22 million, but Lyft's the leader on that one so far. And every time I see Lyft throwing money out, I'm like, where is your money coming from?
Where's it? Well, I think it's all funny money, man. It's all these shared. I mean, it's not when they give to these causes, because that has to be money that is given to these causes. That's how they support. That's how they fund them. And you have to show the SEC that you're doing legal transactions to fund these. It's crazy, man. There's so much money.
And then it's going to be the next state, and they won't all be California, but let's call them 200,000 each. There's like 18 states on the ballot plus the PRO Act, all trying to do this. That's, call it 250 million per state. That is so much wasted money. Yeah. When we're talking about avoiding regulations and whatnot. And that brings me back to, you already answered now. If you want to be an IC or an employee, you want to be IC. So do I. And it's not, a lot of times people just say, I want to be IC because flex time. flex time, there are some ways maybe it could be available, but it won't in the natural way people think it will, because I challenge anybody in this chat right now to tell me one job in the world that lets you come and go as you please and make an hourly wage. And if after a half hour you don't feel like working that day, you can just leave. You can come in anytime you want.
There isn't. I don't know.
There isn't. There is no job you can just go do that. I mean, there might be a salary job where they want, your name or something like a Joe Rogan so bad that they don't care if you work 1 hour. It's more than name
but those
tag,
are extreme. Those are extreme cases. I mean, those are extreme cases. I think
for the average person, it's not.
No, everybody throws the word freedom and flexibility, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. Now, when you turn the apps on, do you have to work? Yeah, okay, but it's all dependent. What we have to understand is 90% of the people that do these gig apps, rideshare or food delivery, are part-time. Okay, they work less than 12 to 15 hours a week. That's part-time. So they're doing it 2-3 days a week for 3 or 4 hours. Okay, 10% do it full-time, right? And I think we have to understand that the freedom, like for me, I worked 5 hours, right? Made $116, not a lot of money, but I made what I wanted to make, 5 hours. I came home, had the kid. I uploaded a video, didn't load that quick. I was like, I was going to go back out. I was like, I don't definitely need to. Plus, I just can't. Girlfriend's going to go to the gym. I'm going to take the baby, give her a bath, fatherly duties, right? But at the end of the day, I didn't make what I wanted earlier. I could go back out tonight if I needed or wanted to. But as a W-2 job, usually you can't like clock out and then come back, walk back in and say, hey, I need to make another $40. Can I clock in? No, most places are going to say no. So the freedom and flexibility is a real thing in the gig apps.
Very much.
Even if you're a writer or a contributor to some kind of whatever, I know you've done that, right? Mm-hmm. You might have a deadline to do. Hey, I gave you 5 days to write. Can you write this post for me? You know what? You can wait till the 4th or 5th day. That to me is freedom and flexibility, because you could do it the first day, be done, got paid, and then do whatever you want for the rest of the week. Most people can't do that. That's why I want to be as independent as possible, because I want to be able to catch any of my girls' games, my boys' games. I want to be able to, if my dad says, hey, we're having dinner Wednesday night, you want to come by? My answer is always yes. It's never, oh, hold up, let me see if my boss can cover for me. Let me see. So freedom and flexibility is a real thing. And I think we use it.
Very real.
We use it, but like it's the number one thing. I think it's super important, I think it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I've explained to people when they say to me, like, well, if they're forced by the state, by the PRO Act or AB5 or these type legislations, then we'll get some answers and we'll at least have these floor payments. I'm like, most likely you're going to see some punishment stuff going on. Cause we've all seen some articles, maybe I know I have, but I've like really deep dived into some about these franchise models, and they're not a joke. People like saying, okay, you want Uber to be under AB5 regulation? Well, Sacramento has 10 franchises. Mm-hmm. You now have to go in and apply with the franchise owner. They'll give you your shifts. You don't. Yeah. There's no more acceptance, because now you take every ride.
Yeah.
You don't get to do anything. I don't understand how people think that this would still be you can park it at home, do some laundry, and when a run comes in, they could tell you need to be here at 6 a.m. and I want you to turn on there. It could be 20 miles from your house. This becomes a different job. And then when we're talking about gas and all that stuff, that could all add up too, because they're not going to pay you to get there.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay those 20 miles. So all that kind of stuff, when we're talking about miles and stuff, if you start looking at the franchise model and like, well, I'll get a floor payment. Yeah, but we've seen the floor payment not work, and it works, but it becomes the ceiling too.
Yeah.
Or the ceiling's not far above it, when maybe the ceiling pre-hand for those of us who are veteran, let's say just easy numbers. Let's say that people are complaining, they're making $6 an hour or whatever, and whatever their problem is. And now they're going to make the floor payment with expenses 15 to 17, but maybe a lot of us could go make 30, 40, $50 in an hour.
We want to be able to control more of what we can make. And I think
that would still, the way I see it though, that would still be they'd still say, well, you can still earn as much as you want, but I guarantee you'd find those drivers would be like, man, I'm not ever getting over 25 anymore. because you'd now be supplementing the people who were making 6. That's how they would deal with something like that. They'd move money over from one to the other.
Well,
and just
plus, if we think about what's happening in New York, right? Because I just, I did a video today about it, and I don't have a lot of knowledge, but I understand a little bit what's going on, and I'm looking to the community to tell me more. Hey, are you in New York? Put in the comments, like, what's your experience? What's your opinion? What do you think? Long-term goal, like long-term benefit, short-term benefit. So I think most of us think short-term, right? We're thinking, oh, this is good right now. But what does it do for the future riders, the future drivers? What does it do to customers? Because the companies all they're going to do is shift costs to the customer. So then if the customer now has to pay more for their food, and there's more delivery fees, and there's less drivers, because I think we'll actually have less drivers the more legislation we have, which could be less people hireable, less people able to make money, we're going to have, it could be bad. Like if the customer is affected as well, there's less people ordering off the apps. There's less money for you and I, like less people to pick up at the bars. Like there's a trickle effect, and there's a long-term effect as well. And I think there is a subset and a large amount of people that want to be an employee. And there are some people that think they are employees. They get the DoorDash bag, they get the Uber bag. Ooh, I work for DoorDash. You don't work for DoorDash. You use their app. You are independent of them. You get to decide what you want to take. Acceptance rate doesn't matter. And the second we start becoming more like employees, and that goal line's moved a little bit away from us, like the further we get from that goal line, like it's going to be harder it's going to make it easier for the companies to, hey, like you said earlier in the beginning, acceptance rate now might matter. You have to schedule now. You can't just dash now. We're going to need you to schedule your week. Like that sounds like an employee to me. And that doesn't give me the freedom. It doesn't give me the flexibility. Forget freedom. It doesn't give me the flexibility to do the things I want and to reach my goals. Because then at that point, I might have to do this another 6 months before I really want to do what I want to do. And that's not part of my plan. And what's good about the apps is you can, if you do them the right way, you could have a plan, do it to pay off this debt, pay off this bill, take this trip, give some money to your kid in college, whatever it is, right? And the more we become like employees, even if we're not there, but the more we become like employees, it's going to be harder for a lot of us, true hustlers, using the apps the way I think they should be intended, in my opinion, to actually reach our goals. It'll be easier for the people that just want to make $15 an hour. It'll be easier for them, and I think it's a win for them.
If they show up. If they show up, it's a job now. It's not.
What kind of person are you getting that wants to make that? Not a good employee,
right?
I don't think not a good.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think that you talk about it, and even in California, they said 85% of question that. I think it's more like a 90, and I'm not kidding. But that don't want to be employees, and it's more like 10% that does. But we know it's 15% by their standards. I'm not sure that's right, but. That want to be employees. I think that it's odd because those 15% are the people that Uber would never want to be employees. Because they're the ones at home. They're the ones cherry picking and doing this and that and the other. And I mean, we might all do that, but that's part of the game now. It's like if you could just, if you're thinking you can just cherry pick from home and be an employee, that's not the way it's going to work, at all. But there's a lot more to the employee model too, I know, but I know that the portable on-demand benefits that have been coming around and things like that, those have a ways to go, like the Moves financials, those people that if you guys aren't familiar with Moves, they do like they give you they'll give you credit, and if you need to extend it, and they don't base it on your credit score, so they'll get you with a bank. They're great people, but I think it's movesfinancial.com. But
who are they working with or for?
So they're working directly with all of the Instacart, DoorDash, Uber, everybody. Okay. And when you put money in the bank through them, or when you connect your accounts to the bank there and their 4 gig workers,
I see.
You get shares of the company though from Moves.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're saying this is a bank entity that if I had my DoorDash and Uber Eats earnings going into their bank, that you get benefits from that.
They would give you shares of DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Interesting. Oh, okay. DoorDash and Uber. Interesting, huh?
Of the platform, you don't get to choose. It's of the platforms you want right now. But what they're trying to do is get it to like a basket, so that you're more playing off the basket of them all. So that it's like you're getting shares of the basket, which has Instacart, DoorDash, Uber,
Got it.
everything's in
Okay.
the basket, and you're just that way the ones that tank here and there will be leveled out by the others.
I mean, it sounds like, I guess it's, without knowing a lot, like it's a free money in some ways, right? But they want to get that
it won't
money
be forever. That's
account.
why I'm telling people here, because this isn't a plug. I'm just telling you the website. Even I'm not giving you any promo code or anything. But I think it's Moves Financial. But you can I got a video on them. You can check them out. And there are links in there. But because I had their CEO on, and I mean what he's doing is amazing. So right now, and it won't last that long, I think they're giving you some money too for hooking up an account. Or not.
Interesting.
And he even said, like, if you're feeling weird about it, just hook up one of the gig accounts you don't use as much. Just see how it works. It's pretty easy. You'll see that you're comfortable with it. But they have like APIs to hook it right into the bank for you. And then they also have like money management tools in there that normally you'd be spending money for, like a Hurdler Premier account. You get like that kind of, it's not Hurdler, but you get like that kind of service in there that is meant for the gig economy.
So do they send you like a debit card to access
the whole
the funds?
Thing.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It's like it's like Chime for today's day and age.
I was just gonna, because Chime was big into that I actually had a Chime. Because Chime gave you like $200 when you would first sign up, and then if you get somebody to sign up, you get $50 from the, and me and my ex-wife at the time both signed up for Chime, and I had like, I think like $200 going into, like it was a small amount of money going in it from every paycheck into that account, just because I wanted the extra 200, and then she got 50, and then I don't even use it anymore. But I think there's a lot of bank entities like that. There's
this one specifically said that, one of the things he told me I thought was really cool was like, if you get your bank account balance down to, it's down in 200, let's say, and your car breaks down, needs $1,500 of work, they'll float you the $1,500 at 0% for a year.
That's crazy. So, that's a huge benefit.
But what they do is check that you're active and that you've been working, not just that you have an account plugged into the bank.
Well, what happens if you stop working in 3 months and you've only paid off $500 and there's $1,000 you owe? I guess
you still have the rest of the year.
You still get the rest of the year. And
in fact, it might not. That might be what it is. As long as you stay active on them, it stays at 0. But if you stop, it then becomes a year that you have.
Well, basically, they're just loaning you that money at 0%.
At 0%,
and you're going to work it off.
As long as you stay working.
Yeah, you're going to work it off. But think about this. So that's a really cool benefit, because a lot of people, most people, I think, without having statistics and analytics in front of me, that are doing DoorDash, Instacart, hey, most of them are living week to week, paycheck to paycheck. So if you have a big expenditure like $1,500 for a car repair, for brakes and rotors, and your engine goes out or whatever, most people aren't going to be able to just say, here's $1,500, I'll get you back on the road. So that's a big benefit, I think. Yeah.
Right. You're not having to call family members. You're not having to like figure something out, even if it's short term. Like, dude, I'm hit. I need some money. I got to get my car back on the road, or I can't earn. Like these guys will get you towed. They'll get you fixed up. They'll hook you up at 0%. And then also they're giving you shares of the company for every deposit you put in there by those companies. So it's a very interesting thing. I think all gig workers should look into it, because I'm at this point where I like you, I like Hannibal. I like a lot of the things he does. I like that he's like, I told him I love that he's starting to like show us other ways to earn. So I dig that, like these surveys. If you take a survey, go take it for $100, $150. Go do it. You know, that's a lot of people put in here that they made $150, $200 in a day. Well, that's one survey. That's a day's work. I mean,
well, I think, and I've actually signed up for that months ago. I saw another video, and I saw Hannibal's that he did, I guess it was a few weeks or whatever. And I've signed up, and I get the email saying, would you like to do this? And I haven't really done it yet, but it is interesting, because you could think about it. You might do a survey at midnight, a night that you're up and you're usually just watching TV, right? And you're sitting there and you do a survey, it takes you an hour, hour and a half, and you're making money while you're not really doing a whole lot, right? Or if you're in a gig economy and you don't work on Mondays because it's slow in your market, somebody might interview you, you do a survey on your day off and you're sitting down drinking coffee. That's a good way to make some extra side income. So, yeah.
So I saw this, it's probably somebody from you, this Sinbad 693.
Oh, that is Sinbad. That's Lucinda. She is a fantastic woman. She's actually in my market. She's a hustler. Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody like Mort or Bud Soda or Marissa, if any of you guys could find that Moves Financial video that I have, or I think I even saw Truth in here, and just post it
think-
into the comment.
I think I could do that right now. Actually, hold on. Let me see if if one of them can too. But I think that where's that? You said Buckle. Where's it at?
Yeah,
Moves?
Buckle's insurance for all of us, by the way. And if you have a low credit score, Buckle can take your insurance in half and have you covered for gig work.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's the Moves one right here. I can here. Let me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it. Oh, Middleton did it. He got it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because that's you guys should check that. Well, that's but I also if somebody can post that video too that I did, because that's a good video to watch where I'm with the CEO and we actually cover probably everything you'd ask in an hour. So
yeah. Well, I think it's cool. What I like about one of the things I like about the community that we have, or the gig tubers, whatever you want to call us, content creators, people that are giving out knowledge and giving out ideas, is viewers and people can watch them. Real people watch these videos every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's somebody who only 100 people watch this video, and then you got 1,000 over here, or 10,000 on this video. At the end of the day, those are real people that are getting information to make a good, knowledgeable decision for them in their market. So, right. Hannibal makes a video about Rover. UDM makes one about Launder, the laundry service, right? You make one about Moves or Buckles. People watch these things, and somebody will make, and it will fit their plans for their life or their family or themselves. And I think that's what's cool about what we do, is that we give out information, and then people can make a decision if it works for them or not. And I think that's one of the best things that we do on these videos.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to be a little bit different from my podcast voice over here. You and I are doing this on a Monday because I'm actually going to try and plug you into the podcast tomorrow. Normally I would have this edited time set up, but now I'm going to have to do it after this. So it won't take forever, but I just, I don't do it every time, but I like to expose some of the YouTubers onto my audio podcast, because a lot of that crowd doesn't know you guys at all. Just like a lot of people on here don't know me. They just it's like that.
Well, I think we tend to, we're humans in a way. We gravitate towards things that we know, right? I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And I'm sure I'm missing out on a lot of things, but there are people that listen to podcasts that don't watch YouTube at all, right? But they listen to podcasts for gig economy news, topics, tips, tricks, whatever it is, right? So I think it's good that we can flow between the worlds and see and give people other options and ideas. So
yeah. I absolutely do too. And I think that, that's why, like, even the people, it's weird. I'll do a video with Harry, and some people diehards show up in there and whatnot, but they'll never be my highest count videos. It's weird. Here he is with all these subscribers, and I know Harry very well. I know you do too. And like,
I'm a contributor on his channel. I do DoorDash videos once a week.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a growing relationship.
Yeah. And I've written articles for him and stuff, and I've told people this, but I don't think people understand that, like, it's not really a reason to hate Harry. He's not a rideshare driver. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference, guys. Like, and if you're thinking, I know, that's why I don't like him. That's not a reason. Harry employs people. Do you know
he does employ people.
I mean, it's like, it's just like everybody else. Like you were saying, like Middleton, like Gary Middleton here, like he creates apps for us all, that help us like fine tune filters to what we are willing to take and whatnot, like the DUH and Maximo and Flex Alert and all that stuff. So, I mean,
I think it's funny that, like, there tends to be this divide of, like, I'm an average Joe, and then I'm going to go against people that wear a suit and have a business mind and want to make money. I never understood that, right? There's something wrong with improving things, employing people. Harry employs actual gig workers to make videos for him, and he pays them. He has people that do,
some people on a payroll, guys.
I am one of them.
But he's got a couple W-2 people.
Oh, does he really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the editor of his podcast, the editor of the website. Those are paid positions. Those aren't gig positions. Those are paid W-2.
Isn't that an awesome thing? Like that should be,
to me,
that should be commended. I mean, that should be commended.
He put out a bunch of videos when nobody did. He seized an opportunity, and then he kept building it, though. It's not like he abandoned it and just is like, it's not like he's getting royalties from doing some hit TV show and he can live off them the rest of his years. He's got to keep this up now. He has employees. He has gig workers like you, people he's like having to take care of every week.
Yeah. Well, I think, as content creators, right, I got into this because I wanted to get 1,000 subs, because I thought as 1,000 subs, I can help 100 people. I knew nothing about monetization. I thought, because I wasn't, I was never in YouTube before. I thought, oh, you got to have 1 million subs to make money on YouTube. That is not true. Like, you can make a living on YouTube. Like, you could do that, right? And I think that things can shift and change. You can become a guy that's working 50 hours a week doing grinding. You're making, $1,200 a week. You're supporting your family. There's value in that, right? It's all personal decisions and choices. But at the end of the day, if you're somebody that is doing that, and then you have a YouTube channel and you're making money off YouTube, isn't that a good thing? Like, and you're employing people, you're growing, you're evolving. Maybe that was a goal of yours. Like, and it's okay to shift and change, and like, we all do that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I think that should be commended and rewarded. I don't think it should be like looked bad upon. Oh, you're monetized, you're making money. Like, I am making money. Harry is making money. Like, that's
right.
I think if the roles were reversed and they were making money, I think they think differently.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that, it would be different if like you or Harry or anybody, me, was out there like intentionally giving bad information or working sided up with a company that we kind of weren't really sure about too. Like, I don't know if they're legit. I don't know if they're
sure.
Like I do
100%.
my research. I look, if somebody's like sponsoring me or whatever, like, right now Gary's a sponsor, like if somebody's working with me, like I'm making sure that he's awesome, and he is, I'm making sure that, everybody likes him that uses his app. I'm making sure that there isn't a lot of bad blood out there about him. I check into these companies.
Gary has the app, right? Am I right in saying? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't use it because I have Apple, but I've heard of it, and I've heard UDM talk about it, and I know Gary. I've seen him in the lives and things like that. But yeah, it's a great point. I think it's like I get 5 to 10 emails a week from people that want me to make a video, a sponsor, like a paid promotion. Can you do this? Can you put this affiliate link in your video? And I haven't done one yet. The only person that I've said yes to was Harry, because I thought it was a good idea. I was like, yeah, I could be the DoorDash guy in your channel. It takes me 15 minutes of my time once a week to make what he pays me per video. Of course I'm going to do that. And the videos are just like I do on my channel. So I'm not compromising anything. It's my ideas mostly. We can collaborate. It makes sense. But I get requests all the time. I could make more money than I am now. I actively choose not to, because like you said, I don't want to give bad information. I don't want to tell somebody, hey, why don't you use this app? But if I don't use it myself, that's kind of like me being a hypocrite, right? So I turn down probably $200-300 a week, because I'm not going to plug things that I don't use. So me neither.
I would never. And I actually get those offers. Usually they're pretty low though too, but it's a startup or something coming in, and I'll try. I'll try and get them on the podcast first, learn about them, feel them out there, because I'm not like a gotcha podcaster. I don't bring you on and go, dude, gotcha, and like, why do you do this? You're a bad person. Like,
that would make that would get you some views though, Steve, if you did that.
Yeah, it's just not me, man.
I get it. I respect that.
But Gary Middleton, even here saying making money also means a lot of work. It does. I mean, like,
it does.
I know that you just said making a 15-minute video for Harry, but I'm going to point out something. Like, when I wrote articles for Harry, I write articles for my site, Uber Lyft drivers. And they're grammatically correct, but there might be a little spelling error here or there. I'm not a pro. Sure. I don't have an editor. I'm not. Yeah. I've got 3,700 articles up on UberLiftDrivers.com that are all gig related. Wow. It's not rideshare. It's everything. Wow. It's food delivery. It's all gig. But
that's great, man. That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when I do that, that's one thing. When I do let's say 15 minutes, like you were saying, takes you 15 minutes to make a video. But when I was doing articles for Harry, those were taking me 3-4 hours.
Oh, see, yeah. Well, I think it's different though. I think sitting down and writing, for me, I'll have a topic, talk about it with his name is Chris. He's one of the guys that works on her, with Sherry's channel. He makes videos as well.
Real say, hey, you want
stories. Exactly. Yeah. I know him by Chris though, but same guy. And we'll talk about it. Hey, let's want to do a video on this topic. Yeah, sure. I get it. I literally get in my car. I turn my camera on just like I do if I make a video. I do it on Saturday. It takes me 10 to 15 minutes to upload it. Google Drive, he looks at it, he puts it out Sunday. So, I mean, that to me, I feel lucky. I felt honored that they asked me to do that. So, and you're going to pay me a little bit of money? that who's not going to do that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a win-win for me.
That's how I felt too. I felt like that was a notch up for me.
Yeah.
4 years ago when Harry asked me to write a couple articles.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was, and he was like, hey, you should be writing a couple articles for me. And then he was like offering me money. And then he was offering me twice as much if I took it in Amazon gift cards.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, no, I'll take the gift cards, man.
I mean, clearly, like you said, 10 minutes ago, he's a business guy. He's a smart guy. He's employs people or collaborates with people that know things maybe that have more of a interest or more knowledge than he does about a field. And he's growing a brand and it's working and he's helping people with ideas and whatever. I think it's fantastic, man. I think it's good. And he's giving out information, whether you agree or not, it's information, but it's helping people. And it's I mean, I think it's good, man. I mean,
Harry started off as the rideshare guy. These days, he's more to me like the micro mobility guy and the last mile service guy and the, working with Curbed and all those type things in LA where he's like working on how scooters can come up to restaurants and like, he's actually dealing with schematics and like city traffic lights and timings. And like, he's more on a different level now, he's not going to come on YouTube and make videos.
No, but I think somebody like that is, he's thinking 10 years from now, right? So the things you just mentioned, that's the future. So he's trying to get in the forefront of that, network with people that are in the forefront of that. So he could then have, make videos about that when it pops. And then that helps him, right? It helps his brand, his channel, grow his channel. So I think we should all be thinking about that. Listen, this isn't any, if somebody wants to do food delivery for 5-10 years, they have no plans, they just want to do food delivery and rideshare and pay the bills, kudos. Do what works for you. That's not me. And I don't think that's most of my viewers. And I've been preaching since day one. Hey, bet on yourself. What are your goals? Like do it one day at a time. Like I'm really big into that. And I live that every single day so that at some point I don't have to wake up on a Monday and turn the app on. I could be making more passive income doing other things. And that's where I'm trying to do that kind of stuff, right? Have a small business, have some vending machines. So I don't have to work as hard. I've worked in the restaurant industry 18 years. I've worked my butt off. Like I've worked, you understand, Steve. I know I'm talking to somebody that's done this. Like it's not easy. So I'm at a point now where like, I want to spend more time with my family. I'm not ever going to be lazy. Like I do something every day. Even if I'm not doing a gig apps, I'm making a video, I'm going to fill a vending machine, I'm doing some coaching basketball on the side, little kids clinics. So I'm always going to have that. But at the end of the day, I want to do things I enjoy. I don't want to walk into a casino and be like, man, today's going to be a long day. I never have that. And I feel good about that. And I'm going to continue to grow and try to figure out how do I make money and have a good feeling still. And I think in the day and age now, it's crazy. We got inflation, we got a lot going on. A lot of people are struggling. I just don't want to be that person. So I'm going to work hard right now so that 10, 20 years from now, I'm in a better spot. And I could just do food delivery and make $1,200 a week in my market, which could be a good living in St. Louis. I could do that and do no YouTube, do nothing else, but I don't want to do that. Like I want to aspire to do a little bit more. I want to be, Harry's got some great things going on, right? His videos might not get a lot of views, but he has a brand, he has a business. And I think that's to be commended.
Yeah, no, I do too. And I've known him since pretty much the beginning. I mean, pretty much. Because I was actually, when I started rideshare, I was getting advice from Harry. He was the only one around doing it. So at least out here in Denver, when I was looking it up. But one thing I will add to what you were saying though, is that like when you're saying, I agree, for me, it's my income when I can't make my other incomes. And when I was telling you my clients, Carnival Cruise Lines, Disney, these were the businesses most affected by COVID and the pandemic. I mean, so like our whole 2020 calendar, by April 3rd, every event had been canceled.
Yeah,
every event.
Man, that sucks, man.
And we're worldwide. I mean, I do most of, in the late 90s, when I've been working this company, I was on salary with this company in the late 90s in Miami. And I was working salary in South and Central America. We go over into Europe, other things, we do.
So you're running the light shows for concerts, right? Lasers for concerts and music events.
But we also build and design air-cooled laser technology down in Miami. And we're the second largest in the world. So we'd install in like a lot of those huge dance clubs, like in Prague and things like that. So like we'll go over there to do a full install that costs like, you know, 150 grand for the software and the install, and then plus the parts. That's just for the install and the bounce mirrors and the lasers and the but I mean, these are real. This is the real deal. This is the stuff that like Skywalker Ranch uses for like George Lucas and stuff.
Yeah, so, George Lucas. Yeah.
So,
wow.
I mean, this is a big deal. But yeah, I mean, so like, but one thing I was gonna say is that, you know, I agree with you that this is a stepping stone for most people. Some people are just in it for, they think forever, and maybe they will be. But I think that right now with the pandemic, I think that I shouldn't say this because I know that you talk about it all the time on your channel, and your people know how to hear it correctly. But I would add that if you, I'm sure you do this in your own ways, but that if right now you don't have a goal, that's pretty normal right now with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so if you're working these apps and you're just like, but I don't have a goal, just, you still might be goal oriented and it'll come to you. But right now there's not a ton of ideas from everybody like there was pre-pandemic. You're not like,
no, I think
it's
that's
a little harder to find your route.
Yeah, it is. You know? Well, and we just went, not just physically with having lockdowns or whatever, or getting sick physically, emotionally, a lot of this country's gone through a lot in the last 2 years, right? So it's hard to try to like be focused, have a goal, or what, when you're dealing with everything that a lot of people have been dealing with financially, emotionally, physically. So I get that. And I think goals, when I speak of goals and like having something to move towards, that's a personal thing for everybody. For you, it could be way different than me. And for Lucinda or Middleton Technology or Bud Soda or TN or Marissa, it could be, their goal could be, hey, I just, you know, I really need to make $500 this week. You know, if I could do that, I'm going to feel really good about that I did that because I got to pay this bill. Or I need to make $1,000 and half of that's going to go in my savings for my trip to Paris. Like everybody's goal is going to be individual. You know, I think it's still important to have them. And it doesn't, just because your goal might be less than Steve's or Pedro's doesn't mean that that goal isn't important, you know. But you bring up a great point because, you know, the last 2 years have been crazy. Like, I mean, things are shifting so quickly and a lot of things are happening and it's been nuts. So it's hard to stay focused and it's hard to like even sometimes be like motivated to have a goal, you know.
I have been telling people, if you're not trying to like find your way with your own business, that if you ever had an inkling to do something that you didn't quite get the qualifications for, that you didn't quite get the exact schooling for, that they say you need to have this for this job, I would tell everybody, and I try and do this often, is say, go out there and apply for those jobs that you thought pre-pandemic that you would have never gotten. And I'll even say, in my opinion, I agree with you, probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But I say now, go apply for it. Go apply for your, you know, right now, if you're working gig, go apply for your dream jobs.
Yeah.
Because you might find somebody going, dude, I like your initiative. I like that you're here. I like that you took a shower. I like that you, you know, that you're not drunk. I like that you said you're going to come in every day. I like that. I mean, they're not so much like, do you know this? I think that if they find the right person, they're a lot more willing than ever in the past to train you. Even if like your skills are very minimal to what they want.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think in a lot of places, obviously now are short staffed or they're running lean. But, you know, we had that great resignation, as they called it. I think last year, people left their jobs, reevaluated their life, their work-life balance, what was important. You know, the pandemic did that, which I think was good in some ways, but like it hurt the economy in certain industries and, you know, service industry especially. But at the end of the day, like what you just said, I think of somebody that I used to work with at the casino. And, you know, they were a really good server and they wanted to get into management. They wanted that, right? But they just weren't ready yet, right? And the opportunity was never there for them, right? And as a server, they were probably making 40 grand a year, let's say, right? Right now, that person could probably walk into a lot of restaurants and maybe make $50,000 or $55,000 a year being a manager. So now they're making 25% more in pay. And maybe that's their dream job. And I think there's a lot of opportunities out there like that for a lot of people. You know, they just got to go. They got to try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can give you an example because, like I said, I do lasers, but I also know how to do staging, lighting, pyrotechnics. Okay, so that's in my bag of tricks. But lasers are my thing. But I had a chance to.
Let me ask you a question before you go. Is that kind of a passion for you? Like, do you really, really enjoy doing that stuff?
Yeah,
or is it a
I mean,
job?
no, I did. I always
Yeah.
did, but you know, the as you get older, the production days wear on you a lot. But it is
Yeah.
a fun, interesting job to go deal with the biggest performers in the like. I was gonna say, like, right before the pandemic hit, I had a buddy who was doing lighting for Elton John,
Oh
and
wow.
his wife, and he works for Laser with me, but he was doing
Hmm.
the lights with another guy, and he had to fly home to Florida for the last 7 shows before they went back over to Europe.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to be part of that because I always try and get on the big tours or whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't Lasers, but I took that job and I went there. And that's not something where if a lighting position opens with the Elton John crew, I have a resume that could sell anybody in that arena. I couldn't get on the Elton John crew. You have to know
Well,
10 people to get on there.
yeah.
Right now, you
Yeah.
might be able to have 3 years of laser experience with a decent sized band and be able to hire on to Elton John's crew.
Wow.
Before the pandemic, they wouldn't have even touched me, but they might just touch somebody who's interested, has some experience now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is just an
Yeah.
example of how,
It's interesting. Yeah.
you know, like they're in all these places are in a totally different position now. And
Yeah. You're
people
right.
are quitting like you said, the great resignation, and people are running to the gig economy. I need to make a few bucks, and I can't not make any money now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you
Well,
got
I
to be
think
able to earn.
I think a lot of people too. We had all that unemployment, and then it ran out, and a lot of those people went to DoorDash and Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Like we got people out here that were like, "Oh, I was getting 400 a week. That was great. I was sitting at home," and I think it worked for. I think some people needed it. They got kids, whatever, or they were COVID. You know, they were afraid and they were worried about health conditions, whatever, right? But those people had to go work when the unemployment stopped. I think a lot of people went to gig work. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people went to doing food delivery because it was easy to get on the app. You know, they don't ask a lot of questions. You just need any kind of card to work for DoorDash. Doesn't really matter. Like, and it's you can work when you want. So if you're a lazy person, now you can just work 2 days, make $100. You got $200 in a week. That get your groceries. You're good. I think a lot of people do that with DoorDash, and they didn't go back to like their cook job or their waitress job or working at Walmart, or you know what I'm saying? They didn't go back to
Mhm.
those kind of jobs. They went to DoorDash, and they went to Uber, or they're driving for Lyft or whatever. And I see that in my market at least.
We can even say that about just the gig apps themselves. People pivoted from
Yeah.
rideshare to food and never went back.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, you got 1.4 million DoorDashers in the United States.
Mm. Well, yeah.
Why?
I mean, think about it. Food delivery apps have over 2 million drivers, but the rideshare apps don't. There's a great shift there, and the pandemic was a big reason for that.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of these are your people too? Can we like do a mixed Heidi Ho of all these guys? I don't know. There's a lot. What's up, Roy? I just saw you pop in. What's up, Bud Soda?
Well,
What's up,
let's see.
Roxy?
I know TN. I know Sinbad 693. You know, Roy watches both of us. I think sometimes probably more you. I know I've seen Roxon around. Obviously, Bud Soda's everywhere. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's some people in here.
Hannibal, more
Hannibal,
Dasher
obviously.
Pass was here. Now she lives in my neighborhood too.
I saw that. Cliff's one of my,
Gig
the
Lebowski's
guys that
here.
watches Gig Lebowski. Dasher
Yeah.
Pass is my favorite YouTuber, in case you didn't know. I like her. I love her sense of humor. Her videos are different. Anytime she posts, she's literally the only person that I immediately watch. I just love everything about Faith. I could watch her. I could watch her talk to her potato, man. I just love that. I just love her, man. She's amazing.
I told her, she said something to me because we're gonna do something up on the mountain.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something. I don't know, because she snowboards. I've been snowboarding for 30 years. I do.
Dude, that would be awesome, man.
So we're gonna do something, but we're also gonna do something up there. I don't know what it'll be, but but she would yeah, I don't know. So she's out here now, and she was telling me she's loving the pay out here and whatnot. But what was it? She said to me that she's on TikTok, or somehow it came up about TikTok, and I just recently had started a TikTok channel just to plug things I do. Really nothing else, just 15-second videos.
I mean, TikTok is the way to go viral.
Yeah, it's not my
thing.
It's not something I've ever thought I'd do.
Yeah.
And when I finally did it, I was like, okay, I can see. Right now it's not yet, but it could, and whatever.
Yeah.
And, it gets a lot of views and whatnot. But then she was like, I have a TikTok channel. I'm like, I didn't know you had one. Let me find it. And she's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you what it is. That's some really weird content.
Oh, I can imagine. But oh my God, I'm gonna have to find it because she reminds
Faith, you got to
me
tell
of,
us what your TikTok is, because I got
yeah.
it. Otherwise, we're going to track it down.
Yeah, I don't know if she's still in here, but I would. I mean, she's just her energy, man. She's my favorite. I could watch her read a book, dude. I just love her. Yeah, she's awesome. The Driven Dad, I know Driven Dad's cool. Didn't you interview the Driven Dad a couple weeks ago?
He lives here too. He lives in Denver too. He lives not far from me. And Tony, he's a good guy.
Yeah. He does a lot of ride share and stuff. I remember that.
He does ride share he does it in a Tesla right now.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's renting a Tesla for Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. I see that you just put a comment in, so, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're paying $600 a week for the Tesla.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
I know, but check it out. So this is a Tesla with full rideshare coverage, complete, that's being rented outside of the Lyft or Uber programs because something was messed up with, he couldn't do it through the platform.
Interesting. So is this part of the, I don't know if Tony's still in here, but is this part, I know, was it Hertz or somebody? They got all these Tesla deals. It's like a
here it is
deal, whatever.
And five with chargers, 500 with chargers.
Okay, 5 with chargers. Got it. So 500 a week with battery chargers. Assuming what he's saying. Okay, got it. Interesting.
You know, because I was asking him if we actually were doing a breakdown when I had him on. I said, when it's all said and done, you pay the Tesla, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. Are you making more with the Tesla at the end of the week? Are you making more with the Tesla than you were with your old car? And he said,
what's about the
same.
Yeah. Okay. But you know what though?
You know, he's driving a Tesla though.
That I was just gonna say. So if it's about the same, but he's in a Tesla and he has that experience, I think that's worth it, right? I mean, yeah.
You know, I don't know. Yeah, I thought the same thing as you though. When he was on, I thought, man, that's a lot. And I even knew Uber was doing something in Lyft where they charge a lot for them. You know, but this isn't, like he said, it's not through Hertz. You know, my BMW cost per week is only about $10
less. Okay.
Well, but you have that was another problem we talked about. You had a BMW to go in.
Well, but he's also, if the Tesla's not his, so he's saving on the depreciation value of his cars. He's not his, right? So there's some value in that as well. But that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So the Hannibal video and where that'll go, we'll see. I think that plays into the narrative of, I really think that's a stepping stone to employ.
I think so.
I mean, you were talking earlier about how, you know, you don't want these gig companies are trying to, you know, get in with places. People need to realize these gig companies are in with every city already. They provide free rides to testing, COVID vaccines, voting,
medical rides to
New
places.
Year's Eve. I mean, they give free rides out left and right, and they've already bribed their way into every city's pocket. So they're already established, and this is where I go to regulation, because I think if regulation were to happen, this is where it's a coin toss, because without it, they can keep digging lower, right? So with it, they're gonna. With it, they're kind of getting in the corrupt pockets of other corrupts. So it's like, with regulation, would that end that? I don't know. I can't say that it will.
I feel like they're going to get in the pockets of more political corrupt, but higher up the chain.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so maybe if it's just local and your local, whatever, and in certain companies, right? Now they're going to possibly go up to mayors and the governors, right? And that could be dangerous. I dropped a video today, 30 minutes before you and I went on, and I've had I'm pretty opinionated sometimes, and I know but I wanted to get other people's opinions, so I'm going to be really curious to see what the comments are like. I know there's going to be quite a few, and I think I don't want the goal line to get pushed back further for us being as independent as we are, right? Whether it's people think we're completely independent contractors, subcontractors, whatever. I feel like the more government regulations that are given towards us and these gig apps, the worse it is for us in the long term. And I feel like we're trying to, the government can't do a lot of other basic things right now. And now we want to add to their plate. I just don't think it makes sense to me.
Right. But at the same time, the whole government's pushing the PRO Act through, or trying to. You know,
yeah.
and if they pushed the PRO Act through, everybody becomes an employee. There will be the 59 million independent contractors in the United States will immediately be terminated and not able to perform that.
Yeah.
And you will have to be under union standards. Even the right to work states will lose their right to work.
Yeah.
That's in the PRO Act.
Yeah.
I'm
not for that. And
right.
without,
but there's a lot of people gunning for that in different directions, in different ways. They all want this same end game, which seems to be, and it shouldn't shock anybody. It's control. They want control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And on all levels.
I think the gig apps they each do their things that are good and bad, but at the end of the day, we still have control over what we can control for the most part. I believe that. And for me, maybe this is me being selfish. I don't know. It could be that. But for me and the people I know, I have friends that have needed quick money and they've gotten on the apps and they did great. You know, they only worked for a month or two, but it worked for them. And they were, and they needed it, right? Mm-hmm. People that get fired, they lose their job, they're furloughed, they come to the apps. I feel like mostly they've done more good than bad, mostly. And I feel like for me, maybe this is me being selfish, the gig apps have done a lot for me in the last 2 years, a lot. And I had a YouTube channel, like I'm making money on YouTube, like that's a lot. And this isn't me being a corporate shill or DoorDash shill, but at the end of the day, we can still control a lot. And I don't want more regulations, because to me, I think like if we had more regulations when I started this, I don't think I'd be in the space I'm in right now, financially and otherwise. So it just scares me for even future drivers that are coming on. I don't want this employee mindset. I think we need to think a little more differently with the gig apps, because they should be thought, it should be that way. It's not a W-2. And I feel like it's getting closer to that with certain things. And in my market, if acceptance rates become a thing, like you were talking about in the beginning, I mean, my acceptance rate has been 0% twice in the last year, 12, 13 months. If it becomes a thing, I'm going to make less money, because there's a lot of $2, $3, $4 orders in my market. So if I have to have even a 60 or 70% acceptance rate because I'm an employee or whatever, I'm going to make less money, probably $200 less a week. That's a lot of money, $800 a month. So I just don't want that to change. I'd rather just come.
Nobody says I want regulation.
Yeah.
Give me regulation. When people start talking about regulation, it's at a point where things are getting so crazy that when you start questioning if regulation is better than what we have, you know we're in a bad place.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I can agree with that. So we know that something has to change, right? We know that something
but where is it going to happen? It's not the companies, it's not the government. They don't care. Where is it going to come from? Is it going to come from a startup rideshare company that Uber is going to destroy?
Or is it going to come from a strike, that Instacart strike that was talked about for 2 weeks, 2 months ago, and now nobody's doing anything? Have you seen anything from Gig Workers Collective? I haven't.
We also have to point out that I've said this before. You can't strike if you're not an employee.
You can't. So that's my point. My point is you got these people
so you're
striking
right. I was saying that it's protesting.
Sure. And
you're not striking.
You're
not striking, you're protesting.
And I think protesting is our fundamental right. We live in America. Right. That's a good thing. But at the end of the day, like, people are throwing this strike word around like we're employees and we're going to strike like we're on union. Strikes work for people that are going to strike for several months. You can't go and strike for a day. I hate unions, but I'll give a couple some credit.
The teachers union, we need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gets corrupt from time to time. Everything does, but like the teachers union is needed because otherwise we would have walkouts and we wouldn't have school very often.
Well, I think there was unions. We needed them back in the 20s and 30s and 40s.
I'm from Michigan, so that's what I was rolling to next was the assembly lines in Detroit. Then it was worth it because you're all in the assembly line. You decide strike. Somebody yells strike, and you walk out pumping your fist, and then the assembly lines close down. And back then, especially an assembly line being down for 5-10 minutes, that's costing Ford millions. That's I
That's a
mean,
strike. Yeah.
right. And so they actually have very big in percentage. They have very big. We need to get this fixed. It's not like the months that can go by with stuff like this. And my other problem too is like when there is an Instacart strike, or a strike on a platform. Let's say, I know DoorDash tried it, others have tried it, but when you have DoorDash has the 1,000,004. Let's say that Instacart is 700,000. When you have 700,000 people on a platform, first of all, let's take at least half and say they've never even heard of the strike.
Right. Or they're not active. Like they
live in rural
active.
or whatever. But
Yes.
I've always said, like, if you just watch your 6 p.m. and 6:30 news, Instacart strike isn't going to be in that.
No, and most people do not watch YouTube for gig content that are gig workers.
Right.
I believe that. I feel very strongly in that.
Like, until they trip and fall into it.
Yes, most people.
They're like on YouTube. They catch one and they're like, "Wait!" And then they start flipping around, going, "Wait, there's more." And
yeah.
So but those are real strikes. Those were strikes. If you left the Ford plant and it can't make a car, like there's not even half of the people in there. They all leave. It's not and then those were the days too when we didn't have to be so PC and
like
if you tried to cross the Ford picket line, it wasn't just that they were going to call you a shill or this or that or the other. Like, you weren't going to cross the picket line.
No, there's going to be a physical altercation. Beer bottle.
These guys would stop you like, hey, no.
Yeah,
this is our life, bro. Like,
and you know what? That would never happen these days. There's too many. Then the issue is this. Right. So think about the times now everybody has this, everybody's recording, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to record you and and you're going to go viral and I'm going to cancel you. You're going to lose your job. Like, there's too much of that going on. Right. And back in the day, we used to almost like regulate ourselves and actually do a strike. Now it's like everybody has this, everybody has an opinion, myself included. And a lot of us do it for our own selfish reasons. And I think part of these strikes and stuff is just because people want to be heard. I got an opinion. Say, I got this, I'm right about it, we should strike. And it's all for their self-interest. I don't think it's actually for the greater good, because if it was, wouldn't we hear more about it? What happened? Like, we stroked for one day. Now nobody's talking about it. No interviews, no more videos, nothing. So what did it really do? I don't think it did anything.
Right. So I was gonna get into the TOS thing, but I think I'm just gonna do a video on it tomorrow. But there's one last thing I really want to hit on, because I want to get this into the audio podcast too. So I got to watch the time here. But I want to talk to you about some. So these are some of the changes to
the TOS.
To what you can write off this year across the board. And I want to know if people. I want to see like if because some have changed. I want to see what people know about this. So like advertising. Do you think advertising can be wrote off?
Are you talking 1099, right?
Or on your Schedule C?
Advertising.
Because you're going to have to, because you remember, people, you have to line item everything you do.
Yeah, I don't think
if you can't line item it, then, or if you're looking through your stuff going, what can I use that? If you're having to do that, it's not probably usable. So.
No, from what I understand, and I haven't educated myself fully yet, but I'm going to. They're trying to really tighten up what credits people can get, because they want to get that money. They want more money. They don't want to give out as much. So I would say that's not one that you can get a credit for.
There's some ways that you can, though, and there's some things, and you can write them like this one's one you could write off 100%, and people should do it if you feel comfortable with it. Like here's a I don't ever do tips and tricks. This is just facts, but it could be used as a tip. So. I mean, like advertising, you can have a business card that says, hey, don't forget to tip me through the app. If you think I did a good job, this, that, the other, hand it out to everybody. You can write that off 100%.
Gotcha. So like the
100%.
$50, the $50 that you spent for those 200 business cards could be a tax write-off.
Full. But if you say, my name is Steve, here's my phone number, call me. Now you're in violation. That business card is not only not write-offable, you're using the platform, you're done on the platform.
Interesting.
App subscriptions, usually, as long as you can say that they apply to your work and helping your work.
Yes.
So let me see. What
about cell phone? What about cell phones?
Cell phones, yes, but you have to be very careful, because in almost every case it's partially. And every year I talk to people who do all, they write it all off. They take what
and if they got audited, that they could be in trouble, is what you're saying,
right? Because because if you have just one phone, I mean, many of us have two.
Yes,
let's face it. So
I have two. I have two, and this one will be a tax write-off for me this year. I've already looked into that. Yeah.
So just be careful, because I mean, you gotta, be honest. I guess be honest with yourself when you're saying how much percentage you really use it for work. Because yes, you are burning through that phone. Yes, you are doing this. So just like anything else, like really figure it. Don't just claim the 100%. Don't try and send your whole bill through, because if you get flagged on something else, these little things will creep you out. But let me see some of the other bigger ones, like car loan interest. You can partially write off that. People don't know these things.
So you're saying if your interest rate is, let's just say 10%, you're saying, and you pay $2,000 or whatever, you're saying you could write that off.
If 80% of it is used for gig work, you can write off 80% of it.
That's interesting. I had no idea about that. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I don't have a car payment, but maybe that's why I don't know. But I didn't know that. That's wow.
Dash cams, usually, not always, but usually. You can't pay for any cloud services.
What would be the reason that you couldn't?
Cloud services.
Okay.
If you're paying a monthly fee to have something uploaded, even though that's part of the dash cam you bought, it still has an SD card. They'll help you. They'll write you off the dash cam and the SD card, but they're not going to write you off your monthly service.
What percentage do you think of people actually know this? Is my first part question.
Well, that's why I'm throwing it out here right now.
And so very low. And then what percentage of people do you think actually do gig work? Do you think actually do their taxes?
A lot.
You think a lot?
I think especially veteran ones and stuff, but yeah, most of them, I think that especially if they only do gig work, I think like 80% of them, if they only do gig work, are doing it, and they're doing it through platforms like TurboTax and things like that. And they might even pay that little bit extra where somebody reviews your stuff, like for $50 extra. But to be honest, that $50, I mean, you're getting somebody to review it, but it's not like verified that your stuff is good. I mean, they're just making sure everything balances. You know what I mean? You did this, and they're not saying, well, wait a minute, on your Schedule C, you can't deduct it. They don't care what you put. They just want to make sure your numbers are.
I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks is what I've been, and I didn't use it in the beginning of the year when I first started, but that's worth the little subscription fee. Like that is going to save me a lot of time and energy and some money, I think. But I don't think most gig workers are having these kind of conversations and bringing up the topics that you're talking about, myself included. I don't think about that. I think about it, every quarter or so, I might think about, okay, what do I got to be thinking about, and making notes and saving receipts. But it's not something that most people think about on a weekly basis,
No, I mean, everybody should be doing quarterly taxes that are an independent contractor, because you learn a lot about what your life actually looks like in a snapshot. But they're not gonna. Let's be honest, they're not gonna. But you should at least know these things I'm talking about right now, because this is some of the stuff I just wanted to put out, and I'll put them in the show notes too, because I've even got more I'm skipping. But like health insurance, because you're self-employed, you can deduct that, but you don't put it on the Schedule C. And again, I'll put my notes just as I have them here. So I'll kind of like put them out there as if you guys want to look them at these show notes for this live stream tonight. By tomorrow, I'll have them in the show notes. So you can come back to this and see, okay, and look down the show notes and make sure before you file your taxes, look at this list, because there's a lot of stuff, legal fees, usually, if you decide you want to create a LLC and be really smart about some things, you want to add some things to your repertoire on top of gig work, you can write that off. Home office deductions. Everybody I know does 100% on that. If they have an extra room or a little space with a desk, you gotta be careful about that one. That's actually one that you gotta be really, 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 really careful.
So
about.
Are you speaking of like for example, I've purchased not a lot of stuff, but I've definitely bought things this year for YouTube, and YouTube's 1099, right? They don't take any taxes out. And those things I will be deducting, like the things.
No, I'm talking about like the space you're sitting in right now,
like
of your house, and saying that because I don't have an office, I can deduct this square footage if nothing else is used in this area other than my YouTube videos.
So you would say if my mortgage is $1,200, I'm going to say I'm going to deduct a portion of that mortgage because I use my house as an office. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like, let's say 1/10 of your house is where you do stuff. Technically, if you can truly make it legitimize it, nobody else goes in there for real, and it is an office.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I've always thought with taxes, I've always thought that, and my taxes up until this year have always been really easy for the most part. I've had deductions because I've had child tax credits and certain things, and like you put some money in a 401k, you get this, you get that. But like at the end of the day, like mine have been easy, right? This year's going to be interesting. But I've always thought of taxes. It's weird because I think a lot of people cheat on taxes, right? And you get audited, you don't get audited. Who knows, right? So you can say, okay, Pedro can say this is his office because he does a live every Sunday. He works on YouTube videos. He bought this, he bought that. He's got a microphone. He has a second phone. He bought these soundboards.
All
right?
That's deductible.
All that's deductible. But then if I say, okay, I'm also going to deduct $400 a month for my office space,
right?
It's almost like, all right, you can do it. And it's like you're almost gambling a little bit that they're going to really look into it, right? That's kind of how I look at some of that stuff.
So I had a friend, oddly, this was years ago, and it's not gig related, but who had a home office, and he actually got audited. And what he was able to do, so I don't know that I would suggest this, but it is something that if you're going to turn your office into a home office, go out and see like 2 or 3 places with a realtor or that are being rented, and get it notated that you looked at it.
You got some paperwork or something, or email or paperwork or something.
A one sheet on it, something that says it's $400, and say, I just can't afford that. So I'm gonna say mine is worth $200 because that's what I can afford.
Yeah, interesting. Then
you're a little more covered to.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm going to be moving in the next couple months to get in a house, and real excited about it. But I want to have another room to have an office to do the lives and work on other things, and just a space that is just for that. And you just dropped a big nugget on me. I didn't think about that. I had no idea. I think that's awesome, man. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. I see that. Wait, what is this?
Holly's in here. Hi, Holly.
If you're going to be an LLC, that will not say. Right. Okay. So that's what I was kind of getting at, is I was saying that, like for me, I have, and like Pedro was saying, he has different goals down the road. So like if you're going to do gig work and like me, lasers, other things, all this other stuff, I'm now looking into it, becoming an LLC, because I have too much going on. And the way that they blend together, I'm not even sure it's right for me, but luckily, where's Marissa here? I just saw her. Oh, so like, yeah. So my fiance is a tax specialist. She does taxes.
Oh, so now I see where the knowledge is coming from.
Well, actually, the knowledge is coming from her and another person that I know, actually, that I do podcasts with often. So that's cool. And we talk about this stuff a lot. So
I mean, that's
especially now.
That's so helpful.
It's important.
That's so helpful. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
But meals, like meals, rarely. Meals with doing food delivery, no. Meals with doing rideshare, rarely. You can't really write those off. People think, well, I can. I'll just go to fast food every day. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't go do that every day. I mean,
what about meals if you're having a business lunch with a perspective?
Yeah,
if you got a side business,
again,
or something, that would be.
I think everybody knows this. We live in a world where now everything's being watched. I mean, like, look, next, you guys think this year is bad for taxes. Wait for next year.
Wait for 2022 is going to be nuts.
Right.
Man.
When you file 2022 and 2023, anything that you made over $600 within that year, you're going to have to claim.
Yeah.
So like I was making a joke about like if I had a garage sale and sold a couch for $650, I have to claim that now. And before that was
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Before Marissa's in here, I can't remember what it was. Marissa, was it 17,000? I mean, it went from 17,000 to 600.
Well, I heard something about like with Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. If you get money like a payroll stuff, not just like me paying you for dinner from last night, but if that equals more than 600, that's taxable income as well.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know. I don't know enough about it to have a real opinion. But
Again, I would
it's
just
so
make sure
different.
you're
Like,
getting just make sure you have take a picture if you have a business lunch, or absolutely keep the receipts, guys. Like anything you think you're going to write off, keep that the paper receipt, even though we're not in a paper world. Legal fees, but like hot bags, drink carriers, yes, those are write-offs.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I'm wondering how many of the people who listen to your stuff write that off, though.
I think probably very few, less than 2%, 3%. I don't think most do. Yeah.
Put it on a line item. And don't search for the cheap bag. Get a good bag.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you're gonna have to spend the money up front, but
it's an investment in your side hustle, and you're going to get it back. Plus, you need to have good bags. The ones that the company sends you, especially DoorDash, is crap. You can't use that; it's small, right? So you shouldn't. You can't put more than one bag in that bag anyway. So,
like here's one that I think a lot of people mess up: music apps. Music apps rarely. You are not supposed to be writing these things off, and we've seen many articles through the years say that you can. You're not. You're not supposed to.
So the Driven Dad just said car washes. I believe you can do car washes.
So here's the deal with car washes. If you are using the 56 cents per mile standard deduction,
then you can't, right?
Then you cannot.
Right. It's one or the other, right? With
right. If you're not going to use the per mileage one, and you're going to break it down, then you can use a car wash or a car wash subscription, like a lot of us have, or whatever.
I think it's going to be, a lot for a lot of drivers, that per mile is going to be more, right? Depending on your situation, what you got going on. I think for most, I think it would be more. But I don't know. I haven't thought about that for my. I didn't have a lot of car expenses this year. I spent $600 on brakes and rotors, and I have a $15 per month car wash subscription. That's all, and I own my vehicle, so I can't do the interest thing like you were talking about earlier. So for me, I'm going to do the miles, because I feel like that's definitely going to outweigh it for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And next year the mileage also goes up to 58.5%, which is weird, because
I saw
that's going to make it 4 cents higher than many markets for Ubers per mile.
Yeah.
So you're going to get paid more for the write-off than you do by Uber.
But
we'll get into that next year.
Yeah. No, that video you did was great, man. Like that 2022 is going to be insane with taxes because of all these changes, and we have to start thinking about it now. So I'm glad you're bringing that topic up. Rentals.
If you have to rent a car, that's write-off, people, and that's a different write-off. You can write that whole thing off. If your car gets in an accident and you still got a work gig and you go rent through Hertz for Uber, you're spending a lot. Write it off.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is in it? I'll put the whole the whole list, but the things like snacks and music, those are kind of the gray area, rarely ones that I see everybody write off. And some of the ones I'm mentioning here are the ones that nobody writes off that you should be. Self-employment tax is deductible, but not on Schedule C, because you as an IC are paying both ends of that taxes. You're paying as the employer of yourself, in essence, as well as the person working for yourself. So you're allowed to write off your employment part, not the part you pay. So you're still going to pay, but you should be getting a lot back. I mean, people don't do this.
Do you think I think there's a misconception. I think a lot of us worry about that taxes, and taxes is like not a fun thing, right? And we worry, they're not taking it out. Do I do it quarterly? Do I do it once a year? What should I be putting away? Like, I was in that mindset in the first 4 or 5 months of the year, right? And then as I started learning more from people, like, I've learned just a few things now, but I've been learning as, you use QuickBooks and you learn stuff, right? You watch videos, whatever. You talk to people that know more than you. And I've realized I realize there are a lot of deductions. If you do it smart and you track your stuff, you're probably not paying taxes, right? You're not paying as much as you thought, right? That's my point,
And the way I look at it too is, maybe some people get a little hesitant. I say, this is, again, just my opinion here. I say that all the time, but get aggressive with your taxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't sit back and go, I don't know if I put it in there, but just know just as long as you can explain what it was.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can explain what it was, don't worry about it. I'll put a list out, and then if you have stuff in there, put it in there, man. Because you know what? If they do audit you, the IRS is well aware that an audit to gig workers is very difficult because Uber isn't playing ball with them. Uber isn't giving them the lowdown on how everything works, and they're changing it constantly. So it's like, I'm using Uber as the example, but it's all of them. But I mean, like, like our 1099K for Uber, like I did on the video, that doesn't cover your 1099 NEC, doesn't show your other income. And the way that they want it to appear is that all the income's going to you, and then you're giving income back to Uber.
Right. Yeah. I saw that video. I shared it. I was like, what's going on here? And that's not something most of us think about. But I started looking at, like, when you do Uber Eats or even rideshare, what I like about Uber, I'll give them this. They show you the breakdown. I like it. It shows you what the customer paid, what Uber got paid, what you got paid. I like it. But when you really start to dissect those numbers, it's interesting to look at how that payout works and how much the customer is actually paying, what you're actually getting. I've had trips on Uber Eats recently in the last few weeks, or last month, I guess, where Uber was like at negative. Like what Uber got was actually a negative amount from the customer, but they still paid me. So the Uber Eats stuff, when they actually show you that, now who knows? Any numbers can be fudged, but I thought it was interesting how they break it down and how you had how you looked at it from the new tax stuff in that video.
I actually took the formula, and it just looked so stupid. I kept looking at it, and I'm like, pay plus bonus. Plus incentives, minus incentives, plus incentives. I mean, it was so dumb the way even when I was reading it, I was laughing at it because I was like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, but it seems like I almost feel like when you start, I don't even know. This is just how I'm thinking. Like you start shaving off pennies here and there, right? They begin to add up, right? When you start shifting things over millions of transactions, they become millions of pennies, and it's a lot of money, right? And I think these big companies have, and this isn't anything new. Uber's not doing anything new. A lot of other companies do this, but it's interesting how when you really start looking at the numbers and the P&Ls and what they're reporting and what they're showing you made versus what you actually made from the customer and or Uber, it's a little alarming sometimes.
So in the show notes tomorrow, I have 40, and I'll put them, and it says usually, rarely, or gray area next to them. So then I'm telling the people in here, you'll have to kind of do your research, but it says it in there. It's a gray area, and you should know what that means. Like, let me find a gray area one just so I can explain. Snacks. For a rideshare driver, snacks is a big gray area. You can write off some, but that's something you're going to need to look into on your own and feel comfortable.
That's not something I honestly,
I was just pointing out one
for snacks. Yeah.
But I mean, unless you're doing rideshare, you wouldn't. But like the one I do want to end on, and this is a big one, and I didn't put it in that video. Uber service fees. You can deduct those.
What do you mean?
Uber service fees. All your Uber service fees for the year.
Oh, your service fees that
Uber took off your passengers. Since they're your passengers, you can deduct them, and Uber can't do anything about it.
So you're talking about like the $2.99, like $2.99
on every ride or whatever. It's dynamic.
It changes. It changes. It's an evolving number. Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Because it's going through you, and because of the way Uber does this, you can write it all off. You can take and that's a big amount. That's a big amount. People.
No, for a lot of people, that's thousands of dollars.
I mean, and the way it's treated. I mean, I'm gonna put them all in here. We have 40 that we came up with, and I'll put them all in the notes of this show by tomorrow. But there's a lot in there. And then the only other thing we were going to touch on that I'm just going to do a video on it, I think, was I lost where it was. Oh, the TOS. And I'm kind of, Gary's still in here. I'm going off Gary's thing a little bit. I can quickly, we can just like real quick while we're summing up here, we can take a look. I can see if I can share this up here. Share screen window. And
just so you know, so I don't ruin your stream here, I think my phone's at like 10% battery life.
Okay.
So well, I don't want to I don't want to.
Oh, wait, no. Nope, it took us both out. There we go.
There, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me go pull it up to full. Okay, so let's see. So this is Gary's words here,
Hmm.
Gary Middleton, but he did it
Yeah,
right.
so he put that together. That's not from the actual TOS.
No, but it's got links
Right.
to the
Okay.
TOS where like because if you look on the like let's say the seventh one, eighth one down, it's rewording that the contractor agrees to maintain a customer rating and completion rating as stated in the rating section. This is DoorDash.
Where'd you get this from? I know it's from Gary, but does he have?
It's
Does
the
he?
TOS.
It's right, but
It's from
he
the TOS.
it's
And
from
like
that he just put it together out of it. Got
he's
it. Okay.
bullet pointing the changes
Yes.
that happened from what January 30th, 2020 or January 30th, 2022 was when they redid it or when he
Right.
did
Right.
this.
Right. Right.
12/16/2020 was the last
Yeah.
time the TOS was written. These are the
Right.
bullet points of what changed. The minor verbal changes, such as DoorDash's company,
Yeah.
making note that arbitration is the primary source, and this is important, the primary
Yep.
source for handling disputes or legal matters, and drivers must opt out if they do
Of
not
any.
want.
Yeah.
But you do drivers all know that? You can opt out. You can opt out that you don't want arbitration.
Yeah. That's
You,
wild. So
you should. You
I
should
have
opt out.
I had to accept and acknowledge these this morning, like I said, because I hadn't worked this weekend, and I did a video tonight. I talked about TOS, and I'm going to get into this, but I'm definitely going to bring this up on my channel because I think this is knowledge that we need to know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is important
Yeah.
stuff. This is,
Yeah.
clarification that DoorDash and drivers are two separate businesses and entities, and the drivers shall be solely responsible for determining how to operate their business and how to perform the contracted services. That's number 4 on this list of bullet points. Number 7 is the one we started with, rewording that the contractor agrees to maintain a rating and a completion rating. Those two contradict each other.
So
They're
hold
in
on.
the TOS.
I need to look at that. You said rewording that the
Read the fourth one down and the sixth one down back to back.
Okay, hold up. You're talking about the
Go against each
clarification
other.
that the drivers will complete the order in a timely and efficient.
No, the next one down.
No. Oh, rewarding.
No,
Rewording.
clarification that DoorDash and drivers.
Oh, clarification that DoorDash and drivers are two separate business entities, and the driver shall be solely responsible for determining how to operate their business and how to perform the contracted services, i.e., what you accept, decline, or the means you use to complete the order. Interesting.
But then if you go down to rewording that
the contractor agrees to maintain a customer rating. Okay, that's in there already, 4.2 or above, and completion rating as stated in the Dasher rating. So completion rating has never been part of deactivation before.
Well, but I'm even putting it into a worse term that it just contradicted the point you read before it.
Yeah, about the accept decline.
That you're solely responsible for determining how you operate this because it's yours. But here's what here's what you have to do for us.
It's an oxymoron.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna have to really. I'm gonna obviously.
The one above it, clarification that the driver will complete the orders in a timely, efficient, safe, and lawful manner. DoorDash shall not control the manner, method, or means the driver uses to perform, and all that. I mean, this is these two that led up to the one that says rewording the contractor agreement just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and I wonder. It's with these kind of things. It's always that lawyer jargon lingo, and it's hard to dissect it because sometimes it's like so messy, right? And most of us aren't reading this. Most of us did what I did today. We clicked the thing, right? Like you're ready to make money, you're going to click it and you don't even know what's in there. I think that's the majority of us, but these bullet points, we need to know this stuff because it could affect your way you make your money and your ability to.
The bottom one I think is new here, and it was only new contractors can opt out of the arbitration. How are they going to know that if they don't hear from us first? They don't ever tell you there's an arbitration clause unless you're fully reading the TOS, but a new driver's not going to look.
And Gary says completion rating is from unassigning. Yeah, that's true. So right now, from what I understand, it was 80%. If you fell below 80%, you could be deactivated if you unassign orders, whatever. Right. Which is, I think is mostly common knowledge for most of us. I think it's hard to unassign 20 orders out of your last 100. I think that's very difficult, but it's interesting. Obviously, they're protecting themselves, but what does that mean for us drivers? That's the main thing, right? That's what I think about.
Yeah. Hey, Gary, will you post your article that you did from
I'd love to share that with my community if I could, Gary.
Gary, post the article that you have up that that I reposted that you did on this that has that whole article, because I think that people need to read that. So before Pedro's phone dies and we wrap this up right here, let's get it in so it's there. You should never have to worry about the customer rating or completing rating, to be honest. Right.
Yeah.
You might have
well, this is good.
If you have the link, that'd be cool. I know you do.
Mort McFly says part of the problem is trying to make the terms of service into the independent contractor agreement. Should be 2 separate legal agreements. Interesting.
Yeah, but think about the head splitting and the hairs there, because you're talking about a TOS from people that work 7 platforms.
Yeah.
And then separating them from each platform.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty close in how they operate, but one wouldn't be static across the board. So there it is.
Yeah.
I'll post this I'll pin this up, or no, wait.
Gary, you're in here. Do you mind if I share that with my community? Like how, I don't want to put something up in a post, and if I like to ask permission before, but I think that's some really good stuff.
Right? Yeah, no, I mean, he's got, he took the time to read it like none of us do.
Right.
If I get time, I sometimes scroll through things, but like he took the time to read it and then just bullet point it so we don't have to.
That's what I'm saying. It'd be nice.
Still responsible, but since we trust Gary, it's up there. But so Pedro, I know you're not on Twitter and stuff, but before we get out of here, I know your YouTube channel, you do stuff with Harry. What else you got going? I know you got. I even saw your store, and I got to tell you another thing too. The join link on your page doesn't show up on phones.
Yes, it doesn't. And I've been getting a lot of questions about that. None of the join link. I don't know. It's a YouTube.
Like I even went through your tabs. It doesn't have any place.
Well, when I look at
you got to go on. You got to go on a computer.
You have to do it from a computer, laptop, or if you go to the actual. If you're on a phone and you go to my page
on a browser.
If you're on your phone and you just go to my page where like community tab is, and it'll say about community tabs, community. There's actually a membership one. You can click on that, and then there's a link in there if people want to join. Basically, I have a join membership. It's all my videos are free. Obviously, Google puts ads in videos, and I monetize my videos. But you could join. There's perks, and I do giveaways, and you get emoji badges. I do separate videos just for members, and just a way to kind of recognize people, and it's a way for people to support the channel. And there's also I do merchandise on the store link with Spring. That's at the bottom of videos. You can buy. I had these bet on you shirts and coffee mugs and hoodies and coffee mugs and stickers. It's just a way for people to support the channel, and it's a way for me to make some side money, some passive income. So
see, I'm actually moving that way right now because I'm with Redbubble still right now, and
I
uploaded my logo, and they had 8,000 items. Like there's rideshare rodeo clocks and bedspreads and all this stuff was on. I'm like, you guys are taking almost all the money anyway. It's pretty cool to see all this instantly populated, but I need to just do t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee.
That's what
it's
I
really
do.
all stickers,
maybe money off that, but it's fun. They do take most of the money. It's crazy, but Redbubble's it's a lot on. I looked into Redbubble and it was too much. Spring was a little easier for me, but it's cool. I mean, it's really humbling actually for people to I've had a few people send me emails of them wearing my shirt. I mean, that is just, to me, that's just it's extremely humbling. It's really cool. And I think it's, your logo is absolutely amazing, by the way. So that has to be on something, that'd be a great sticker logo, a t-shirt, a coffee mug.
Yeah, I've got it on some stuff, and I've got it on coffee mugs and stickers. The stickers I just kind of give away.
Yeah. Sure. That's a giveaway. Yeah.
Gary didn't put a link, and he just said it's his blog, but here's Gary's site, people. It's middletontech.com.
Do you have your live chat as a replay, Steve? You could. Cool. Okay.
I mean, how it works. It takes 12 hours to
right
because it's Streamlab.
MiddletonTech.com. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to MiddletonTech.com, there's a blog link. If you click that blog link, he just posted this, probably his most recent post, I think. I'm not sure, but if not, just scroll down a little, you'll see it. But it's he talks about the TOS changes. So
yeah, that's cool. Awesome.
but yeah, so that's where that is for you and to share with your people. Oh, here it is. You put it up. There we
You
go.
put the
Thanks,
link in.
Gary.
Yeah, I'll go back in and check it out.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, once they get by tomorrow when they get the chat back up. So, but yeah, so what else can we plug of yours? I'll make sure it's all in the show notes.
I don't really have I do Instagram. My girlfriend she runs
you
my
don't do a
Instagram,
Facebook
but
channel. You don't do
No, I don't have Facebook.
You just
I don't
do
have
YouTube.
None of that. It's YouTube. And that's it, man. I do everything on YouTube, videos every day, go live on Sundays. The Sundays is the one thing, that's the thing to plug. We have a fun time in that chat room on Sunday nights from 10 p.m. Eastern. I usually go 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. We just have fun. We talk about our week.
Last night was like 3 hours.
Yeah, it was 3 hours.
Last night was a long one. I saw it. I was in and out, but I even saw like all the way till when that person delivered your food.
Yeah, it was crazy. Oh my God. See, we have fun in it. I try to the live chat for me is it's intended. I picked Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on purpose. I was like, all right, let's end the week, but then start a new week. Let's just talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, help each other out, crack some jokes, have some smiles. It's not too serious. Maybe we talk about some topics. We take a few calls. If you want to learn about the channel, that's where you come first. Go to one of the live videos, come to a live. That's where you can get the feel for what we try to do here. And then, because all my other videos are super repetitive. I do a lot of ride-alongs. I've got over 500 ride-along videos. But I really, really enjoy the lives that I do. And that's where I would like people to go check me out first. So,
yeah. And that's one thing that I will say, like a lot of times we talk about, is too much content out there, is too much content being created. Again, I relate this stuff sometimes back to just a business again. Without you putting it into the feed, you're not feeding YouTube enough to want their algorithm to push you up there.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you got to be putting out content. You can do regular like you're doing helps, but I mean, you got to be doing content or you're not going to be anywhere.
Yes, you have to put content out, and even if people aren't watching, you still do it because you're doing it for yourself. You should have pride in it. It's a fun thing. I enjoy doing the videos. I look forward to it. And I would still be doing videos every day like I am. If I had 500 subs, I would still be doing, because I actually enjoy it. The fact that I actually get paid and I do help some people with whatever it is for them, whether it's entertainment, a laugh, whether they disagree with what I say, whether they're brand new and they want some tips and tricks, there's some value in that, I think. And I'll continue doing it as long as I'm doing this and people are watching and it's fun. And the channel will evolve into other things as I evolve with businesses and vending machines and other things I got going on. It'll evolve. I'm not going to do ride-alongs forever, but right now it's fun and I enjoy doing them. So,
and that's one of the reasons I was bringing up the TOS. You should actually maybe after you read it, you might think this too. Maybe start including at the beginning. Hey, if you're a new rider, opt out of the arbitration right now.
Yeah.
No, but opt out of the arbitration right now because you're the only one that can. Only new riders or only new workers.
Interesting. And I think a lot of new people come to the channel actually.
Right. Like last night I noticed there were some newbies and people are like, oh, he's a newbie or there's a newbie. Yeah. I saw some. So I'm like, those are the people who need, like, that's something right there. That's a piece of information that they need to have or they'll never know it and they'll never be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good point.
And you have the people showing up, so it's,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know. I'm just sharing some things in my head because I think that you can share it further.
No, I think I appreciate you saying that because I think that even myself sometimes I get so bogged down with the ride-alongs and it becomes like the same. And there's different things in there, but there's topics. But at the end of the day, I do also feel like I have a responsibility because a lot of people watch my videos and they comment, they ask me questions, they send me emails, and I email and comment back on almost everything because I understand that I'm appreciative of people even looking to my channel for anything, right? A tip, a trick, advice, entertainment. And I think I appreciate that. And I do have a responsibility to share information that isn't always on the forefront and isn't just entertaining, but it needs to be shared. And I think the things that we talked about tonight, there's definitely some topics that need to be out there more. So,
yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's a starting point. Like I said, I'm going to put some notes in here. You're going to be looking at this stuff, putting some stuff out, but I think we talked about some things that'll be put out now in bigger pieces, and these people, everybody should watch for this stuff because it's tax time. It's time to deal with this stuff. It's TOS time. It's time to get. It's a new year. It's time to get on our games, people.
It's time to get dirty with the realness. Yeah, we got to get dirty, and then we can be done with it, and then be happy when we get to spring and summer again. But we got to deal with it and face it. So
exactly. Well, Pedro, I really want to thank you for coming on tonight. I can hear with your cough, you're kind of, you're maybe like having a. I know that last night you weren't coughing, but whatever it is,
it's just this old, coming out of what I came out of. It just lingers when I talk, and the more you talk, it just kind of aggravates. But Steve, this was a pleasure, man. I was really glad that you emailed me, and it was fun, man. I learned some things tonight, and this was great, man. Anytime you want to do it again, you just let me know.
All right. Thanks, man. And thank you everybody else for showing up, obviously. I hope that some of you that are new here and here because Pedro, subscribe to my channel. I never say it. Gary always tells me I need to say it. I'm like, I'm not that guy. I just don't.
But Steve,
say it, man.
It's okay. Other people can say it for you. And it's okay to want some subs because, hey, if you're giving out good information, you want people to hear it. So hit that red subscribe button.
I mean, the way he put it to me was like, he's like, just put it up in the beginning and don't even say it. Just have a little thing that says subscribe. Just put it down at the bottom as a banner. I'm like, okay, I'm trying, man. I'm an audio podcaster. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to
I hear you. But because you're doing that and doing it well and you like that, maybe even more, the more you grow your YouTube, it will only help you with the audio podcast, right? It brings the YouTube crowd to the audio podcast a little bit. So,
I think it helps.
So.
I've actually brought probably the other way, more audio podcast listeners to YouTube.
From you. Okay. Yeah.
Because now after 2 years, they want to see me doing some live stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Audio podcasts, cool. They never saw me, I got a face for radio.
And I've already seen. I was doing some snooping. You got a face for radio. You got the voice though, so I was doing some snooping on your channel, and I get all these alerts. You're like interviewing everybody basically for the next 6 months. I saw. So you got all these interviews coming up, and it's exciting, man. It's
good people man. Too. Good
people.
Absolutely.
And I think you got different people. They're in different markets, different opinions.
Right. The Thursday live thing, like right now we're doing a Monday thing, but the Thursday live is the thing I do on YouTube. I've tried to bring in creators and that kind of thing. The Tuesday podcast drop that comes out every week is usually CEOs, startup companies. Like I got the Bolt, you guys know Bolt rideshare. I got the Bolt autonomous, one of the engineers from the autonomous division coming in. So I get some pretty big stuff where those aren't live. I do those on Zoom. I record them. I put them into the podcast, and then I somewhat release most of them onto YouTube later.
Yeah.
The interviews themselves, but
cool.
So I just try and keep it fresh and relevant and helpful.
Yeah. I think that's great, man. And I think I like that. And I think we have to have, my channel, it's a little more entertainment, a little more like, all right, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to rant. People like that. I'm going to give you a pickup drop off. People like that. But then I'll give you some topics. I'll share my opinion. I'll give you the news. We got to have different kinds of channels so people can actually hear different voices, different perspectives. I think that's one of the great things about YouTube. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not trying. And I do try and keep it a little lively, even though some of the content can get dry. I try and make it as fun as it can be, man.
Yeah, sometimes
I try and make a joke, even if it's at my own expense. Here's where I screwed up before. Don't do this.
But sometimes you're talking taxes and TOS. It's like, okay, how long are we gonna, But we have to
you know what? If
it.
you see it's an hour video and you're like, oh, it's an hour video. But I'll tell you this, guys. The Thursday lives, I never know what they're going to bring. But when you see the anything I bring over from the podcast, I'm saying it's me saying to you, I think you should watch this. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not trying to bait you into watching something you don't need to watch. I'm just saying that those are the ones I think you should watch and know if they're relative to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
a lot of them are relative to all of them, but sometimes it's a DoorDash or a ride share. You might not do ride share. So if it's relevant to you, I put it up there because I think it's stuff you should watch. And it's taking it to a human level. Like, here's where you can understand, here's how you like Gary doing the TOS and bullet points. He just saved all of you reading it.
And that's why I asked him, hey, can I somehow kind of share that in a community post or put it in my video tomorrow, or next day? But listen, Steve, it's been fun. My phone's going to die. I don't want to ruin you live and have it go out. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
for coming
Thank
on,
you.
man. This was fun.
You're welcome, man. It was fun. We had a great time. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.